Hi, good morning. Welcome to The Big Issue. The Big Issue is your platform for incisive analysis and riveting conversation. My name is Selom Adunu, and on this Saturday morning, we have 3 issues in store for you. From last night, some NDC faithful have stormed the Cantonment police station asking for the release of the NDC candidate for Awutu-Sunya East, the Kaswa area, now Koryoo, who was taken into detention by the police for allegedly possessing firearm. She has explained that the firearm is licensed and that she did nothing wrong by having those firearms. If you recall, sometime in the week, the son of the incumbent member of parliament for the area, Hawa Kumsin, was stabbed in the chest owing to some disturbances in the area in respect of voter transfer. That matter has escalated, and a number of people, about 3 of them, including the NDC parliamentary candidate for the area, Koryoo, are in detention. The NDC youth are unhappy with this, and they say they are calling for the immediate release of the lady. They think that she's done nothing wrong, and if anything at all, she is being on bail, and there was no need for her to be kept in detention. Former President Mahama has also spoken on the matter and has condemned, saying the matter is fast developing and will bring you up to speed on the matter this morning. Also, election 2024 is almost upon us, and as is characteristic of the season, a number of polls have started trickling in. We've seen polls from the Global Info Analytics, we've seen polls from the EIU, and now a poll from Professor Smart Sapon, who is with the Kumasi Technical University. His poll is interesting because it says that candidate or flag bearer Baumia is more popular, or is a preferred candidate. Meanwhile, his party is less popular. The NDC as a political party is more popular, and its candidate is less preferred than Baumia. We'll try to unpack this morning what that means. We'll also be speaking to other pollsters to understand what the place of polls have been or will be in this particular election. Also, we will be looking at the matter of the ambulance procurement trial, where Justice Efiasewa Bochuasari dismissed the mistrial applications and application to stay proceedings, etc., against the applicants, that mostly the A3, accused person 3, and accused person 1, and also strongly advised that the Attorney General should recuse himself from the prosecution. The prosecution, she says, should go on, but she strongly advised that the Attorney General, given what has been generally become known as a misconduct in respect of how he engaged accused person 3 on phone, etc., the Honorable Justice of the Court of Appeal, sitting as an additional High Court judge, felt that it was proper and in the interest of justice for the Attorney General to recuse himself from the trial. Attorney General says it was just an advice and that he will continue with the prosecution. What do you think about that? Your comments are welcome via WhatsApp line 020-444-7033 or 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. We are live on 97.3 City FM. My name is Selom Adunu. I'll take a short break. I'll come back, provide you some updates, introduce my guests, and we'll get a discussion underway. Don't go away. You're welcome back. This is The Big Issue on 97.3 City FM. My name is Selom Adunu. 3 issues we'll be unpacking for you this morning. Last night, some NDC faithful began converging on the Cantonment police station to demand the release of their parliamentary candidate for the Awutu-Sunya East constituency, Phyllis Koryoo. The lady, together with 2 others, were taken into custody because the police said they were carrying firearms. The lady in question has said that the firearm is licensed, and so she carried it lawfully. The police said they are investigating the matter. The NDC thinks that the police are being manipulated, for want of a better word, to do so. Indeed, the National Communications Office of the party has alluded to that on a number of platforms, that the police are being controlled by powers above them to detain the lady, because in their view, what the lady is alleged to have done does not warrant the kind of treatment she is being given. They think that the matter is deeper than that. Earlier in the week, the son of Hawa Kumsin, who is a member of parliament for the Utusenya East, was allegedly stabbed in the chest by some persons suspected to be NDC people at dawn, I think, when there were some disturbances or skirmishes in respect of the voter transfer in that particular area. A number of things have since happened. Police have picked up people, and this is where we are. The NDC guys are massing up at the place, demanding the release of their people. Also, election 2024 polls have started trickling in. The latest came earlier this week. And made some interesting revelations. We'll look at all of that in the context of the general polling situation. Imanitu has been doing some polls reports on what social media is saying and which candidate is having favorable reviews on social media, etc. We'll look at all of that. And also, finally, we'll look at the ambulance procurement trial and what the judge, Justice Ifya Sewa Botre, is been saying in respect of the mistrial application, which was dismissed, and a piece of advice to the Attorney General to recuse himself. Of course, by now you know that the Attorney General has said that he will treat that as a piece of advice, which is what it is, and that he will continue with the prosecution. Whether that will happen in fact, we do not know. We wait to see how the next few days play out. Now, let me provide you some updates first. Then I do a quick interview on the ongoing matters around the Cantonment police station. Thousands of NDC supporters gathered on Friday at the Cantonment police station to demand the immediate release of Phyllis Koryoo Okuno, the party's parliamentary candidate for the Utusenya East constituency. Madam Okuno was detained on Friday by the police, a move that has sparked widespread outrage among NDC members and sympathizers. The demonstrators, clad in the party's colors and chanting slogans in support of Okuno, expressed their dissatisfaction with what they describe as an unjust and politically motivated detention. The protest follows a statement by former President John Dramani Mahama, who strongly condemned the police's decision to detain Madam Okuno. Mr. Mahama argued that the detention was ordered by the Inspector General of Police, George Ekufu Dampare, on the instructions of the National Security Minister, Albert Kandapa. Here is more.
Senior. When I came, the person was standing here, but sorry to say, I couldn't figure you out. I didn't hear. Oh, seriously. No problem. Thank you. This is an apology. Thank you.
All right, so you saw and heard some sights and sounds from the Cantonment police station, where some NDC faithful are gathering or have gathered to demand the immediate release of their candidate for the Utusenya East constituency, Phyllis Koryoo Okuno. Let's speak to Phyllis Okuno's personal assistant, Delali Sewakpo. He joins us on the line to help us appreciate really what the matters are at the police station. Hello, good evening, good morning, sir. Welcome to the big issue. Yes, so we understand that your team and a lot of your supporters have gathered at the police station demanding the release of your candidate. Why so? Why are you demanding her release? The police have taken the person into lawful custody. Why are you trying to force the hand of the police to release the lady when the police is just doing their work?
Good morning, Shalom, and good morning to your cherished viewers. Thanks for having me. If you could pardon me for just a minute, so good morning to you, Shalom, and good morning to your cherished viewers. The reason why the NDC supporters are currently massed up at the Cantonment Divisional Headquarters is about the fact that, in our estimation, what we know, the detention of Honorable Policeman Koryoo is unlawful, it's politically orchestrated, there's no basis for it. This is obviously somebody at the top pulling strings just to show Honorable Policeman Koryoo where power lies, because the person thinks that it's obvious the good people of Owutu Senye's constituency have rejected her, and there's no way the people of Kaso are going to retain her. And that is obviously the reason why this mass and do about nothing political persecution is currently going on. Because Zolam, as a lawyer, I believe if police decided to call you and detain you, there must be a basis for that detention. The police at least must be able to tell you what crime you have committed. In this particular instances, nothing of that sort has been done. The only information they are getting from the top echelons of the police service to the lower rank officers of the police service is order emanating from above. As to who is giving the orders, we don't know. The IGP, according to even the national chairman of our party, is saying orders from above. The director of CID is saying order from above. So the only people these orders could be emanating from is the President of the Republic of Ghana, the National Security, like President Mahama has alluded to, the Minister for Interior, and the powers are these. There's no basis for this arrest. Pure political persecution.
I see. But are you saying that the lady is in detention without knowing why she's in detention? Is that your claim?
Absolutely.
So you're telling me the police have not told her why they are detaining her? Is that what you're saying?
Solomon, I've been at the National CID headquarters since yesterday around 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Since yesterday around 10 o'clock till 6 o'clock p.m. when Honorable Policeman Koryoo was brought to the Cantonment Divisional Headquarters. And as the communication director of the NDC Owutu Senye's constituency, I am not aware of any charges that has been preferred against Honorable Policeman Koryoo, except the ones that are being speculated.
I see. The charges may not, the charge sheet may not be prepared yet, but there are often provisional charges that the police will prefer against somebody. I'm sure her lawyer, if she has one, or herself, would have been told why she's being kept or why she's been invited. So I'm surprised you are telling us that, she has no idea. That would be strange.
It's yesterday, when we were at the CID headquarters, Honorable Policeman Koryoo, delving into the historical antecedents of this case, was invited at the Kasua Divisional Command relative to a gun that he saw in her car. And they asked her whether the gun has been licensed. She went to the house, she brought documents covering the gun. Document that was issued to her by the Kasua, Divisional Command, signed by a senior officer from the Central East Regional Command. So he actually made her documents available. When we came to the CID headquarters on Wednesday, he was questioned and he was discharged. And they asked us to come. That was yesterday. We came. And there was a lot of questions that she was asked. At a point in time, one thing that became so ridiculous is the fact that her name, Phyllis, was spelled P-H-Y-L-I-S. And she said, even this is an issue or a problem that she has encountered when she was back even in primary school, JSS, SS, university, and when she was even doing her master's. Her Phyllis is not spelled the usual P-H-Y-L-I-S. It's spelled P-H-I-L-L-I-S. The license document to the gun, right, bear the same spelling. Her national ID card bear the same spelling. So So even the police even call her to correct it. They wanted to be sure whether her Phyllis is spelled Phylis, because the police, they think that is how Phyllis is spelled. But when you look at the gun document, it's spelled Phillis. So she brought her Ghana card.
I see. So we understand that a number of people were also arrested or have been detained together with her. Who are these other people?
Her driver and her security.
Why are these people being detained as well?
I mean, these are people that were in the car, her personal car, when they found the gun. And even the gun was not found out by the police. It was found by the NPP tax. They ambushed her car, forcefully opened it, and took her gun and gave it to the police.
I see. So, of course, we understand this is related to the incident which happened earlier in the week where the MP's son was stabbed in the chest and is currently on admission, that we understand. Is that correct? And how much of an involvement was Koryoo and her team in that particular incident?
Honorable Phyllis Koryoo was not even at the scene. She was invited by a delegation of police officers that were deployed from the national headquarters, ostensibly to help them to de-escalate the tension that was in Kasua. So she actually went to the center with the Deputy General Secretary of our party, Comrade Mustafa Bandi. So she was not present. I mean, she only went there upon the invitation of the deployment that came from the national headquarters to de-escalate the situation. That was when the NPP hoodlums and thugs ambushed her car, forcefully opened it, and took the gun and gave it to the police to create an impression that she brought a licensed gun to cause a mayhem.
Very well. So where are you now? Are you still at the police station or you've left the place?
Sure, I'm currently at the Cantonment Divisional Headquarters.
So has anybody come out to tell you guys anything, or you are just there? And when are you, how long are you going to be there?
Just this morning, Dr. Edward Omanemboama, lawyer, Adauga, wanted even to have access to Honorable Phyllis Koryoo. We are being told they can't have access to Honorable Phyllis Koryoo unless the investigator coming from the headquarters comes. And this is shocking and unbelievable.
Very well. Thanks so much, Delali. We'll be following and kindly let us know if anything changes. But our reporters are there and we'll be getting updates as and when. All right, so last night, the national youth organizer of the party, popularly called Pablo or Pari, Georgia Pariadu, was there with his young people, and this is what he had to say at the place.
The National Youth Commander. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Again, yes. It's released. Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. We are ready. We expect you. Yes. Now. Free now. Free now. Free now.
All right, so you saw the national youth organizer of the NDC, Georgia Pari, popularly called Pablo, and some of his young guys at the Cantonment police station there. Now, let's speak to the director of legal affairs of the National Democratic Congress, lawyer Aide. He was at the place or at the police station as late as 1 a.m., we understand, for him to help us appreciate the matters from a lawyer's perspective. Hello, good morning, sir. Welcome to the big issue. What can you tell us about the happenings? The police rightfully invited your client or your member to the police station. And so why are the supporters besieging the place to force the hand of the police to release them? Yeah,
Shalom. I need to first of all say good morning to you and your cherished viewers, and also say a happy 6th anniversary to ChannelOne TV.
Thank you.
Shalom. Yesterday, in fact, it was on Thursday, one of the persons involved in the Kaswa matter was put before the High Court on Thursday. So I went to apply for bail. The bail was declined and the gentleman remanded for 2 weeks. I was in the court with Koryoo, our parliamentary candidate for Kaswa. So around 4-5 p.m., after we left the court, he sent me a message that the police have given her invitation to come to the CID headquarters on Friday at 10 a.m. So, in view of other urgent matters, I quickly arranged for 2 lawyers to be with her at the police headquarters. Shalom. From 10 a.m., when she reported to the police CID headquarters, my learned friend, Sammy Jenki, our national communication officer, went to the CID headquarters in between time and met the Director General CID, who then assured that this is just the normal protocol they are taking our candidates through. And for that matter, he is giving the assurance that everything will proceed as planned. This around 5 p.m., I received a message from her that the police are now saying they are going to detain her. Hello, respectfully, when a person is arrested, per our constitutional arrangement, the person ought to be informed of the reason for the arrest, the reason why you want to detain her. Hello, the police struggle to provide any such reason. Now, each of the senior police officers engaged had only one response. We have an order from above to detain her. So I said, no, this
the police actually told you they have order from above to detain her.
Personally, I was at the CID headquarters myself with my national chairman, accompanied by Baba Jama. The word is, we have an order from above to detain her. So in fact, for anonymity, one of the senior police officers, I told him that first of all, our parliamentary candidate was invited by the Kaswa police on suspicion that he was in possession of firearm. Thankfully, she appeared at the Kaswa police station with the license issued by the same Ghana police. The police in Kaswa, upon inspecting the documents and having established that it is authentic, proceeded to grant her bail. So, the Kaswa police, having granted her bail, what therefore is the basis to invite her to the headquarters, and having so invited, proceed now to say you are arresting her. So, having so arrested her, on what basis would you therefore say you are not arresting her? A person like you, your own officers have granted her bail in Kaswa. No, your own officers. And in fact, tell us, yesterday, the police invited the officer who ransacked the guard, a woman, a senior police officer at that, who also confirmed that the license to the gun was issued by her. How is so established that the license to the guard on car was duly licensed? What therefore is the justification to detain her? It is clear, fellow.
I see. That's quite. Yes, that's quite interesting. But we are hearing that the spelling of her name on the license and all of that appears to be an issue. Is that correct? Can you confirm that to us?
Confirm.
We are hearing that the spelling of her name, on the license,
yes.
etc.
No, in the course of the interrogation, the police, because the name on the gun, the license, sorry, they were having problems with how it is spelled. Salon, those of us who grew up in the village, our names are very straightforward. You understand? We don't, have these complicated names like the way these, modern persons have their names.
The names are quite simple, like Godwin, Godsway, etc. I get the point.
Look at my name, God and we. But some of these names, you know how Felix, people spell it differently. So the police had an issue with the spelling of the name, and we clarified. Look, Shalom, almost all the senior police officers we engaged were basically handicapped. They tell you that, look, lawyer, this one is about us. This one is about, in fact, it was almost a cross. I personally engaged the regional police commander. He looked so helpless. He said, look, I am not well. But because of this, I have to come. I don't even know what is happening. This is the regional police commander.
So what's your suspicion? Order from above, the regional commander, who obviously is also above, doesn't appear to know from what you're saying. Who could be this above person, or this person from above issuing instructions?
There are two people. The chairman of the police council, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, or Nanado Dankwe Kufuado.
Wow. The suspicion is that, or the allegation is that Dr. Baumia or Nanado issued the instruction to detain your candidate.
Yes, and you see.
And what's the basis? What's the basis for thinking so?
I'm coming there. You see, Shalom, we have been in this country for a while. Precisely. Look, you have a situation where COPs, right? Commissioners of police. You go to, in fact, I myself and my national chairman spent almost 3 or 4 hours with a COP in the office. He said, look, Master Chairman, these are the matters. And we even find it worrying that a civilian obtains a license from us to possess firearms. We have duly given the person license. And we are arresting her for having a license for a gun. But I am handicapped. I am handicapped.
I see.
Not once, not twice. Look, we came to the Cantonment police officer, and spent close to, I got to the around 6, 7 thereabouts. I left there exactly 1 a.m. 1 a.m. And everybody you asked, it said order from above.
I see.
Order from above. In this country, there are only 2 people who are above the IGP.
But the IGP could be the one issuing the instruction as well. The Minister for the Interior could be the one as well.
I can tell you. See, when the matter happened, and I'll tell you this. I personally reached out to persons who are close to the IG. And I said, look, can we engage the IG and let the IDC know that this situation may be volatile. And also explain the circumstance that the lady has already been granted bail by his officers in Kaswa. The response I got from these associates of the IDC, I got shocked. Tell on this country we are not good.
I see.
And you see, fellow, I am deeply troubled. If going into the 2024 election, this is how the presidency is going to directly interfere in the work of the Ghana police, then I then say we are going to have a regime police. We have every constitutional right, therefore, to resolve to have our own police and police ourselves.
I'm not sure about the connection with the presidency and all of that. We know the IGP is the one in charge of the police. Above him is the interior minister. In the mix, there's a national security minister.
I hardly raise these issues. When you go to the police headquarters and senior officers pull you aside, and for confidentiality, for raising names, and say A, B, C, D, our hands are tied. The calls are coming directly from the Jubilee House. You have to detain this girl. We want to show her where power lies. Why?
I see. Why? So as lawyer or as director of legal affairs for the NDC, and this is one of your senior officers, you do not know why she's being detained. Today is Saturday, and normally. First of all, the incident that happened at Kaswa, when it happened, she was not even there. So there's no way you can even connect her to the issue. No, but she may not be there. She may not be there, but the people who allegedly did what they did could have done so on her instruction. We don't know that. No.
In fact, the police have not even alleged that. You know, when you go to the police, interrogation questions are added to tell you the area they are investigating, right? It has always been about the gun and the license. So even upon their own suspicion, they call the officer who licensed their gun.
I see. All right. So just hang on for me for a minute. Your friend Dennis Miracles Abuaji is in the studio, and because you mentioned the fact Dennis Miracles Abuaji, the fact that because you mentioned,
I think he should be worried.
Yeah, the fact that you mentioned Dr. Baumia and the presidency.
Just 30 seconds. Preparing to go to opposition, we must all be worried with this order from above.
Very well. He has a few things to say about drawing in his boss into this discussion. So Dennis, welcome to the program. I've not even properly introduced you. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. So Dennis Miracles, welcome to the program. I didn't even properly introduce you, but that's fine. And Musa Dankwa, pollster, is also here. We'll be joined by Abraham Maliba, also from the NDC. But Dennis, your quick response to some of the things that you heard Ediji talk about.
I find it very needless. He drawing in Dr. Baumia. I think it's pointless. We don't always have to do this. You know, he's made a submission. For me, a lot of the ongoing things yesterday are things that must be looked at, not necessarily with just political eyes. It's okay if he's doing politics. I mean, he's a politician and he's a lawyer. But drawing Dr. Baumia in, I don't think he's speaking as a lawyer. He's plainly speaking as he's
a politician and a lawyer,
yeah,
and
so
he's a political matter.
So he's plainly speaking as an
and his claim is that he's a chairman of the police council.
It's pointless.
Obviously,
he's a lawyer. He should know. He was just telling you. Let me just, he was just telling you that the MP wasn't in Kaswa when the incident happened, so he couldn't have been connected to it. Was Baumia at the police headquarters? Was Baumia there? And if a policeman at the regional police headquarters tells you, please,
let's finish.
Don't do this.
Right.
If a policeman tells you he has an order from above, how do you connect it to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia? Why is it not the IGP? Why is it not the other commissioners? There are plenty of commissioners in Ghana. It could be anybody. But again, Eduji can never speak without mentioning their nemesis, Dr. Bawumia. What has Dr. Bawumia got to do with all these things happening in council? I think it's completely unnecessary. For me, I think that if we take out some of these pointless, needless comments from Eduji, we can have very good conversations. I mean, before he unnecessarily drew in Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I was going to take a different direction on
this. I've changed your mind.
Yes, because clearly he's giving me an indication that he's doing politics and is not really looking at the substance of the issue. You understand? So that's why I don't have a choice. But I think that it's needless. Anybody watching this morning, ChannelOne this morning knows that what the point is bogus. It doesn't make any sense.
Very well.
But let me come to the substance. That's the point
of drawing in.
Yes, let me come to the substance of the issue. For me, I think that we need to dispassionately look at these issues. There are several angles of this matter, which I think some are right, some in my view are right, in my view some are wrong, in my view some are needless, in my view it could be handled in different ways, and I think that is how we should be looking at this. For example, I'm asking a very simple question. If Mr. Musa Dankwa seated here is arrested for possessing a gun, is he going to have people mass into a police station on his behalf? It's a very important question. If he's not going to have people massing up at the police station on his behalf, what are the reliefs for him? What is the procedure for him to be able to get justice? Again, is it that Miracles can actually commit a crime, and or Eduji can commit a crime, and because the two of us are politically active, we'll have people mass up at a police station for us, and does that necessarily absolve us of whatever offense we may have committed? Also, we are in a political season. It is okay for anybody at all to have suspicion of political witch hunting, but that needs to be established. And a lot of things need to be excluded before you can get there. But if we continue like this, we may never get anywhere, and it becomes cyclical. I have my views on some of these things. And until I don't take Eduji's words when you say a policeman told me and it's personal. I don't think he's a politician. He can 100% be lying. He is a pure NDC legal.
So politicians lie?
No. We have to. Politicians sometimes will make the argument to favor their political side. Why not? You know, data and science and economics can be interpreted to look either way, depending on what you want to do. So he can 100% be lying, and I think he's lying, and I'm sure a lot of viewers watching knows that he's lying because
no police officer spoke.
Yes, he had to bring that point in, so of course he can point all the way to the top of the ladder and ultimately get to that. But I think it's completely needless.
But as a politician, and as a politician,
first of all, guns can be licensed for citizens of the republic. Any of us can have guns licensed, and the police have that discretion to license the gun for you, or even take it away from you at any point. If you have a duly, properly licensed gun, I don't think any policeman should arrest you for
But you said they call the person who licensed the gun, the officer.
I am saying that, you see, at the moment, I haven't heard the police speak, and you haven't heard the police speak. We've seen a lot of these things severally. When they will come out and say all manner of things, only for the police to come, and you realize that it's not even connected to the things they were putting out. You heard the communications officer of Utu Senya is telling you that they have not even preferred any charges against their KPI, which you and I know is completely false.
Yeah, but Eduji also alluded to that.
But I'm telling you that, let the police, for me, you see, and
but is it not strange that the police hasn't issued a statement? Typically, they have issued a statement by now, given that people are massing up there.
That is what I'm saying. Let them issue that statement.
But are they not keeping too long? I don't
speak for the police.
So, no, but you are a citizen of the country.
Yeah, you know my position on a lot of
a prominent citizen.
No, my position on a lot of these institutions is that I'm always careful when I try to come across as speaking for them because I have my issues. Ghana,
but you should be
have a lot of
you should be concerned that
But I can't also just make my point from the perspective of
of course. So let's put Eduji aside.
Number one,
the fact is that people are massed up there for A, B, and C.
That's even a challenge. That's the difficulty. Yeah, that is the first difficulty I have.
That the people are massed up there. That's a fact. That's what
yes, that's the first difficulty. Because in fact, if I'm a police commander and I see people mass up at my police station because I've arrested somebody which I believe is legitimately, so I may not release the person because people have massed up. That's why I said that. How about your cousin who is not Eduji, who is not Miracles, who is not Phyllis.
But if,
when the person is arrested,
if the arrest is deemed to have been connected to a political
who is
event,
deeming it? That's the point.
No, because some things have happened.
Exactly.
Some things have happened in Kaswa.
That's why I wanted to
connections being drawn.
You are really distorted. That's why I wanted to.
I'm sorry.
That's why I wanted to establish the point. You see, at this point, the reason why you're asking me a lot of these questions is because you are really inclined to.
No, because it's happening.
Exactly. No, from the commentary, and because they are the first to speak. There was a stab. A gentleman had been stabbed in Kaswa. We shouldn't forget.
No, I mentioned that, yeah.
Somebody had actually been stabbed. And other people actually hospitalized at the moment. I don't know if that is actually what is connected to, or this whole matter is actually just a matter of a licensed gun. That's why I want to be careful. That's why I'm saying, first of all, the police have taken too long. By now, they should have issued a statement and clearly told the public what exactly is the reason for the lady's arrest. Simply because a former president has actually made a comment on it. Again, there has been incidences in the course of the week in Kaswa where people have actually been stabbed. There's been violence in the area. But and once the member of parliament's son is the one that has been stabbed, the easiest pointer is the NDC. And the leader of the NDC in the Wutu Senya East, it is this lady in question. So I think that by now the police should have come out to actually give one or two comments about why the lady is being held. Again, I also think that the NDC should not politicize everything. Is it the case that when you're a politician or a parliamentary candidate, you cannot commit a crime? Is it the case? Is it the case that you cannot commit a crime? Or is it the case that when you commit a crime, because you're a parliamentary candidate, you cannot be arrested? And that when you are arrested...
But we need to know what the crime is.
Exactly. So at this point, the only missing point for me is the fact that the police have been too slow in issuing a statement. And then the other challenge I have is the massing up of people at the police station, thinking that should force the hands of the police to release somebody they may be wrong, but they may deem to have committed a crime. And then the third point, which is a worry, is all this needless commentary from the NDC, including my friend Eduji, and drawing in people who probably were asleep. The
connection though is that person is the chairman of the police.
So what? So the chairman of the police council has issued an order this morning for the guy who was arrested in Assisi to be arrested.
Not necessarily. That guy is not politically active.
So does it make sense? The chairman of the police council is not the only politically active person in the police.
No, now he has a direct interest. But
did they tell you? You see, the original commander who told you and told you in confidence was able to tell you that he has an order, but couldn't tell you exactly who. First of all, that's a lie. That point by Eduji is a lie. It is him trying to form the basis to be able to point fingers at, of course, his nemesis.
Very well.
I think that we shouldn't politicize this matter. The police should come out. If the lady hasn't committed any crime, let her go. If she has committed a crime, tell the public, because the public have an interest. She is a parliamentary candidate. Don't hold her. Issue a statement and let the public know. So that those of us who are also home and are not interested in massing up, we will know what these people who are massing up are doing to us. And then if you have a reason to hold her, hold her.
Very well.
But if you have no reason to hold her, let her go.
Very well.
The violence and the incidences in Kaswa are things that we need to talk about. For me, those are the key things we need to talk about. Let's condemn those things. That we have come too far as a people in our democracy and our electoral processes to be having the member of parliament, our Kumsin, being stabbed. Let's disagree. I mean, how many times Eduji and I on phone right now? We disagree all the time. We disagree at each other, right in our faces.
But don't stab each other.
Don't stab yourself.
Good. So I think you
go to an electoral center for transfer, and there's an issue. There are processes. There are people who have been issued with voter ID cards, and they've been withdrawn. There are processes. Let's use those processes and eschew from these needless violence, needless instigating of violence like they are doing right now at the Cantonment police station. For me, these things are needless.
Yes, very well.
Let's go and sit down with the police. The police too must do the right thing. It's been close to 12 hours or 18 hours. If I check from the last time I saw the notice, issue a statement. If you feel that you have a strong reason to hold the lady, issue a statement and then let everybody know. Then the NDC will know that you have a reason to hold the lady. And then go. But There is nowhere in our laws that says that if you're a parliamentary candidate, you cannot commit a crime. And there is also nowhere in our laws that says that if somebody hasn't committed a crime, hold the person. I don't subscribe to that.
Good.
For me, I'm against those things, but I cannot just assume that because Eduji, I don't trust Eduji's words on these things.
I see. That's what I do. Eduji, so what are you guys going to do now? Today is a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Have you had any assurances from the police or anybody that your candidate will be released? What are you going to do now, just in a few seconds?
Shalom. I was just listening to Miracle Abuaj. Look, some of senior police officers were a person I schooled with. I personally reached out to them at that level. I said, look, these are the facts. Are there any contrary facts emanating from the investigation? Obviously, no. Now, so when you see that in the midst of the license issued by you to her, what therefore will be the lawful justification?
I am only telling you that stop drawing names that you have no basis to draw in.
I need to take a break. So Eduji, go ahead. Yes. Go ahead, Eduji.
Hello, Shalom.
Eduji, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, so the point I am making, and I want to repeat, there are only two people who can order the police today.
No, Eduji, that connection is quite remote. Because the IGP is there, the interior minister is there, the national security coordinator or minister is there.
With respect. Remember that
I found this on the web for the National Security Code Minister, is it? Check it out.
We strongly believe that this whole decision of our candidate is nothing short of taking our eyes off the transfer, because she has been deeply involved. So it is like the popular saying, once you hit the shepherd, what happens?
The sheep will scatter.
That's it.
So
it's an old, play, like rule in the playbook.
I see. But let's advance the discussion and the final one. So what will you do now? Are you still encouraging your people to join in the massing up there? What is happening? Or you ask them to go home?
Our supporters have demonstrated comradeship by coming to provide the necessary support to our parliamentary candidate. We encourage them the more to come further, so we stand together, because together we fall, together we stand. Stella.
I see. Thanks so much, Eduji Tamaklo. Thanks for your intervention. We are grateful for your time. A few messages have come through with this. This one from SK says, look, how Akumsin personally fired a gun and never went through this. What the heck is going on in our country? This one from Chris in Ashalebuchu says, why will this regime behave callously as if there is no tomorrow? Political delinquents invaded a police station in Rambo style during the House West Wagon by-election and shot innocent people with passion, but absolutely nothing happened to them. So why are they harassing innocent parliamentary candidates? Honorable Ramadan of Adenta, the MP, was devastated when he heard the news. I see. All right, that's just what has been happening, and so we will hope that the police will be able to issue a statement anytime soon, so that we bring this matter to a close. But then as a young politician and how things are happening, this should obviously be of concern to you. Indeed, the former president, let me just take a quote from what he said. He thinks that these activities or these actions may needlessly be raising the political temperature in the country, and he's calling on the IGP to have a rethink of it. I read, it says that there is no justification for the decision by the IGP, George Ekufu Dampari, on the orders of the National Security Advisor, Kandapa, to detain a parliamentary candidate for the Awusu Senior East constituency in police custody. We have that on the screen. This action taken on the instructions of the National Security Secretariat would needlessly raise a political temperature in the country and spark avoidable tension. The police service and the IGP must not allow themselves to be used to hang the peace and stability of our nation months before crucial national elections. I call on the IGP, the Peace Council, and the government and the people of Ghana to recognize that justice is not just a moral imperative, but a crucial prerequisite for maintaining peace and stability in a nation. We cannot allow the police service to be used to stifle opposition and intimidate innocent Ghanaians and political opponents in the run-up to the 2024 elections. Clearly, the intention to detain her after she had already been granted bail is an attempt to intimidate the NDC parliamentary candidate in a quest to unseat the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Hawa Kumsin, in the Utu Senior East constituency. I urge the IGP to urgently reconsider his decision or his actions and release Koryoo immediately for the sake of justice and stability of our nation. It's high time the police fulfilled their duty to serve and protect all citizens, irrespective of their political affiliations. Hashtag justice for Koryoo, hashtag free Koryoo now. You should agree with the former president on some of the points he's made, that this activity or this action may needlessly raise the political temperature in the country.
Salom, I told you from the get-go that my position on this matter, it hasn't changed. I have constantly on City, ChannelOne, constantly have my issues with police. So I don't speak for police. But again, when you read the former president's statement, now you come to believe me when I tell you I don't trust Eduji. Former president is categorical. This is the former president of the republic. He's way high up than Eduji. Categorically saying that the lady has been arrested upon the instruction of the National Security Minister and the National Security Secretariat. But you had the legal advisor, the gentleman that said that I was at the police headquarters and that it is Bawumia. You see, so the NDC, they make it very difficult for you. When you even want to elevate the conversation, they make it difficult. Within a split second, see the contradiction between the two of them.
Maybe it would have been rerouted. I mean,
but I am telling you that you see that this is the former president. He was categorical. He would have said that. He would have said that. We shouldn't do this to ourselves as a people. And so when you do this, then straight away it becomes very difficult for the conversation to be had. Because when I know you are lying about leaders in my party, I will not even come to say anything relative to them.
I'm not connecting this to Dr. Bawumia, but he should be concerned about this.
Relax.
I'm not connecting.
It is barely, calm down. This is an institution with things running. 12
and he's at the top of it.
12 hours. No, Bawumia doesn't run the Ghana police.
I know, but
put it on record.
No, he doesn't run.
Doesn't run the Ghana police.
But he's chairman of the council.
But the council, you know the role of the council.
And he's an interested.
You know the role.
He's an interested party.
You know the role of the council. Bawumia is not responsible for the interior security of this country.
Sure.
He is not.
Sure.
He is not. The president has an interior minister, has a national security advisor, he has a national security council, and the role of the police council is quite clear. Bawumia doesn't pick a phone in the morning, or no, when former President Mahama was vice president, he doesn't pick a phone every morning to call the IGP and tell the IGP what to do. So I am only trying to highlight the contradiction and the inconsistencies amongst the NDC. That the legal advisor to the NDC is lying about one thing, and the former president, I don't want to say is lying because I think he's way higher up than Eduji. He's also saying something else. And even before I heard this story, I had put it on record that I know Eduji was lying. Eduji had to cook up that point so he can bring up the nemesis, which I find unfair. My position on this matter is this:
that the police should issue a statement.
The police
if the lady hasn't done anything wrong,
issue a statement.
Be released.
If the lady hasn't done anything wrong, release her.
Very well.
If the lady has done something wrong, the NDC should go home and sleep and let the laws work.
Good.
That's my position.
All right, so that's Dennis Miracles Abuaji, a spokesperson for the Dr. Bawumia campaign. We'll take a short break. When we return, we will look at the matters of the recent polls or polling data and all of that. So the first part of the show has dealt with the matter at the Cantonment police station. We'll move to the next on the polls. This is the big issue. Don't go away. Hi, good morning. Welcome to the big issue. Very big welcome to our TV viewers. This is ChannelOne television. We are happy to have you this morning. Join us on the big issue. My name is Selom Adunu. We have been dealing with the matter of the Nayoko detention, where NDC faithful have been gathering at the Cantonment police station in demand for her immediate release. She was detained last night. They say they don't know why she's been detained, but information we are picking up is that the police appear to be detaining her because she was in possession of a gun or a firearm. She says the firearm is licensed. We understand the officers who licensed the firearm have been spoken to. There was a difficulty with the spelling of her name, Phyllis, spelled with double L or one L. All of that coming up. The NDC is alleging that the matter is political, and she's been detained because some persons high up the ladder have called for her detention. Indeed, earlier in the week, we saw or heard that the MP's son, the MP in that area, Owusu-Sunya East, Hawa Kumsin, the son was stabbed during some altercation in respect of voter transfer in the Kaswa area, and that matter has gone to court. Bail application for the suspect or the accused has been denied, and all of that. So we spoke to Delali Sewopo, who is an aide to the detained parliamentary candidate Koryoo Akuno. We also spoke to the Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC, Edwiji Tamaklo, who is unhappy with the situation, and this is where we are. Now we move on to look at election 2024. A number of polls have come out since sometime last year, latest being the one conducted by Professor Smart Sapon of the Kumasi Technical University. So we're trying to analyze recent polling data, and then we'll also, in the course of that, talk about the EC's voter transfer, U-turn, and other matters which has arisen therefrom. And also, at the last part of the show, we'll look at the ambulance procurement trial. Justice Fiasewa Botwe dismissed the mistrial application and other applications brought forward by the accused persons, and also strongly advised the AG to recuse himself from the trial. And we are asking that what's next for the case. Of course, the AG has said he will treat this as a piece of advice and that he will go ahead and conduct the prosecution of the accused persons. My guests this morning are Dennis Miracles Abuadi, spokesperson for the Dr. Bawumia campaign team, Franklin Koryoo, President, Imani Africa, Musa Dankwa, who is a poster, Global Info Analytics Executive Director, and we'll be joined also by Professor Smart Sapon, Director of Research and Innovation at the Kumasi Technical University, and we are hoping to be joined by Brahma Maliba, Director of Conflict Resolution of the NDC. Gentlemen, you are welcome to the program. I started with you, Musa Dankwa. You are a data person, you are a numbers person. It does appear that gradually we are beginning to embrace the place of data and science in our politics. Polling data and numbers, etc., are becoming commonplace in our elections. We saw a few of those in the last election and the election before. We're beginning to see some now. What's your general thinking around the place of data and science in modern elections, for that matter, elections in Ghana?
Right, thank you very much, Selam, for having me. Good morning to you, your listeners, and your viewers. Polling is very important. If I may quote or attribute this quote to David Axelrod, former campaign director for Obama. He said, if you are running any campaign and you have no polling, it's like a pilot who is flying without flight plan. Although you will take off, that's where you will land, only God knows. So polling enables you to see what is happening on the ground. It enables you to see where you have challenges in, and enables you to test your campaign messages and see which ones will resonate and which one wouldn't. And that you will be on the track and be able to fine-tune your messages as you go along. That's for the political parties. For you, the media, I think it enables you to shape the conversation around issues. Gone are the days when people come here and talk and just have a discussion of this argument. Now you could say that the poll says X, people are unemployed, or key issues are jobs, economy, and this. What are your policies towards these issues? So you focus the discussion around issues that matter to voters. If people are worried about jobs and economy, and the discussion is not around this issue, then you're not doing a service to the country as a media house. So it's very important. And again, the voters. Sometimes you see, what you might be feeling as individual may seem personal to you, but is that a feeling of others, or you are alone? And the polling enables you to aggregate the views of people who think like you and those who don't think like you, and see how many people are saying that we are headed in the right direction compared to those who say we're not. And then again, how many people think that their living standard in the last few years has improved compared to those who say it has gotten worse. For the government in power, indeed, it's a message. You can look at these polling numbers and begin to take steps to improve the situation you find yourself in. If you are in government, for example, if people are saying the economy is the issue, then you would focus on the economy in the election year and make sure that you address the challenges people are kind of telling us from the polling perspective. So I think for all stakeholders, polling is very important.
I see. So what will you say, I mean, how can an average person identify a credible poll? I mean, because we know people may do polls for whatever reasons. But how do I know that this poll, for example, I'm seeing is credible?
It is always important to look at the methodology and how transparent that methodology is, and what is the objective of the study, and what is the sample frame that has been used to collect the data. So if you look at polling that has been published by the leading companies, Ipsos, Reuters, Emerson's, all those
few months,
big polls, they devote at least a page or two to explain to you the methodology they have used. Why do they do that? Because they want you to be able to take the same methodology and apply it and see whether the results you will get will be similar to what they have gotten. So you must tell people exactly the sample frame you used. And if that sample frame represents those of the voters, then it makes sense. If you pick a sample frame that does not reflect the entire voting population, then that cannot be an election polling. It could be a view of certain segment in the society. And also the margin of error you have in the poll is very important, that everybody says that margin of error. The margin of error simply means that if somebody replicates, or in an actual election, the results that will happen will be plus or minus the margin of error you have indicated, because you didn't go to interview everybody. And there may be noises in the data that would account for differences between the day of the polling and election day. So things could move. But once you are keeping track of the data and the election gets closer, the results of the election will just be difference between the actual vote and the margin of error, sometimes slightly above it, but it won't be a way off. So the key thing is really the methodology. We tend to dwell so much about the person, the pollster, even though it helps.
The pollster.
Even if the pollster is ethical and that he's not presenting his views as the view of voters. Look, there's nothing wrong with the pollster being an MPP pollster. Indeed, we have a typical example in the UK. There's a gentleman called Lord Ashcroft. He's a leading conservative lord in the House and a leading financier of conservatives. People worship his polls, not because of him, but because of the methodology and the approach. So me, I don't subscribe to those who say, oh, he's an MPP man, he's an NDC man. It's not about the person. If you are professional, you'll be professional, you'll be ethical. But what do you miss on these two fronts, then everything else falls apart.
Wow, I see. Dennis, so I think our elections have evolved. Now there appears to be some more effort to bring in more data, science, etc. How important is polling data, for example, to the MPP as a political party, and how does that help you?
It's extremely important. As a matter of fact, I think in the last 5-6 months, we have received survey reports from about 12 or 11 different groups. You know, already there are international organizations who do these things to take their own decisions.
Yeah.
In fact, there are multinational companies who actually commission some of these things to take their own business decisions. There are development partners, there are diplomatic groups who do these things, and some of them actually do share their reports with us. It's extremely important. And Salom, I mean, if you're going into an election It is crucial that throughout the process, you know where you are heading towards. Elections are determined on the D-Day, and a lot of things can happen even 2 hours before the end of the elections. People have lost elections within the last 1 hour to the end of the elections. People have lost elections in a day. In fact, there are communities in this country where on the day of elections, the night before elections, there is one person or two persons who announce where everybody is voting, and everybody votes that way. It's there in this country. Anybody, MPP, NDC, we all know. There are communities in this country that you will go 100 times a day. You will never know where they are going to vote until the night before or the morning. If I remember rightly, in 2008 elections, one of the communities in the voter region where, I'm sure if you recall, in 2008, you recall the incidents of MPP having some agents in the voter region sent away and brutalized and all of that. A chief, around 11 a.m., declared every MP person not persona non grata. And I was a TESCON member then, and we were deployed there to go and do agent work, and we all had to run away. So what is important for us as a political party or as a campaign, in the polls and the surveys are the commentaries, the remarks. What are the people saying their expectations are? What are the people saying they look forward to? As for the numbers, I can tell you without any shadow of doubt that it gives an indication by the means nothing. People have predicted right and people have predicted wrongly. And I always say that if you do a survey and you give me margin of error for an election where it's 50% plus 1, where we've been voting from 1992 to date, and we can tell that between MPP and NDC, the minimum you are going to lose weight is at 48 or 47%. If you give me a plus or minus 5%, 6%, you have done nothing. It's like saying that I'm giving myself the, so you come and predict that I will get 48%, plus or minus 5, and then when I get 50% plus 0, I predicted right.
I did well.
I mean, those ones for me are not. So the numbers don't matter, and that is why if you look at each of the polls we received, you realize that none of the polls we received are the same. None. And there could be several reasons. See, Salom, if you come to my constituency, Ekiapem North, you know it's a predominantly MPP stronghold.
Yes.
But, I mean, I want to be careful. I don't want to mention the community's name. But there are some communities that, if you go there,
It's NDC.
It's NDC. If you live within Ekiapem North. So if you come into Ekiapem North to come and do a survey,
That's why the distribution.
And you go
the distribution is important.
You pick
that
80
community.
people. You pick 80 people from. So the entire Ekiapem North, you said, I spoke to 80 people. You can actually have gone to, you could have gone to Ekiapem North, speak to 80 people.
But the sampling is important.
Depending on where you went to. And it could determine the outcome of your survey. That's why we don't place premium on the number. So you can come from Ekiapem North today, which is known to be a strong MPP area, and tell me that your sample, your survey is telling the NDC will win. Okay, well. But that sample may not come out as such on election day because you may have gone to this 2030, the southern part. Okay, you may have done the southern part and come here and do, so it would influence that. But I think that any poster or any surveyor that does these things and gives us the report, we work with it and we don't throw it away. But indeed, there are also biased posters. That is a matter of fact. There are pollsters who actually do some of these things. I've always said it, and it's public. I won't sit here and pretend. I have always said that Mr. Musa Danko's post
is a biased
poster. Yes. I mean, he does.
Why so?
It's not forecasted.
It's not a professional.
He may be a professional doing other things. Political polling is not the only thing he does.
No, but of course, in terms of political
But when it comes to the political polling, MPP and NDC,
but he shows his methodology.
You can show the theory, but what you do, that's what.
No, methodology is predicted quite a lot.
So many people have predicted. That's what I've told. That's what the prediction. Why people predict Game TV and NLA and win. Isn't all? Let me conclude. So that is also there. Extrapolations, forecasting. If you do a polling and say Ekiapem North MPP will win, you've done nothing. You've done nothing. If you do a survey and say Central Region NDC could win, you've done nothing. Because you can look at the last 3 elections and know that there are some regions that they come here these elections, they go here these elections. You can make those things. So we should also rule out the fact that there are very, very biased hatchet job posters. That is also a fact. It is there. It is not a lie. And we know them. But even they, when they bring their report, we read. Me, I am a strong critic of Mr. Musa Dankweswe, but I read his report. You know why? Because the numbers don't matter. I know the numbers is manipulating them, but I go and read.
But you know that for a fact.
I know for a fact. I know for a fact. But I still go and read because there are comments in there that when you read could help shape your decisions going forward.
Let me speak to Prof. Musa, I'll come to you. Oh. So, Prof. Smart Sapon, he did a latest report, latest poll on, the title is Who Wins Election 2024, Evidence from Science and Data. Prof, you're welcome to the program. Prof is an associate professor of statistics, research design, and data management. He's a data management consultant, director of research and innovation at the Kumasi Technical University in Ghana. Welcome to the program, Prof.
Yes, Salam. Thank you for having me. Good morning and good morning to your panel in studio.
Yes, like I started by asking my panelists what they think the place of science and data is in our modern elections, especially in Ghana. Just give me a 30-second take on that, then we resume into the discussion proper.
Well, Salam, thank you so much. Elsewhere, in other countries, they actually value the essence of elections research or opinion poll. And even though we can talk about sensational ones, we can talk about, I don't use the word biased or bad, maybe sensational or overemphasized ones, I still hold a view, and it is founded in literature, that the worst form of opinion poll or elections research is still better than the occasion of silence and political parties not having feedback from the very people they seek their votes. So all elections research has one thing in common. Sensational ones or unsensational ones, they have one thing in common. That commonality is the fact that some voters are engaged or prospective voters are engaged, and the prospective voters give those relevant feedbacks which are summarized and presented as reports from those elections research. And it serves as feedback, like it or not, to the actors, to the stakeholders, to the political parties. And for as many political parties who assess those feedback, whether it agrees with their own internal research or it disagrees with their own internal research, for as many as assess and adds it to their strategy, reacts to it positively, works towards it, they end up benefiting. It inures largely to their benefit. It will better be for a political party to accept the outcome of a research, elections research, and improve and win convincingly, than to throw it away or put it aside for purposes of whatever reason, only to wake up one day to see the reality right there in front of him. So that is my impression. And elsewhere, their appreciation and acceptance of elections research is wonderful. Here, depending on who is talking, you would hear various remarks, some of which are not scientific or related to even the work before them. But we are all Ghanaians and we know who we are. And so I personally, I'm not too surprised when those off-course reactions are coming. But let's get to the point where, and I know we will get there very soon, people will appreciate the effort that posters or election researchers go through to get those feedback, those very necessary feedbacks for them.
I see. This, your latest work, appears to have gone very far. For those who don't know you, is this the very first work you are doing? If no, what have been some of the works you've done in the past?
Well, Salam, in the report I shared, I have included links to about 2 of them. The first one is elections 2020, and the last one, the next one in the link that I attached to the report I gave was the regional elections in Ashanti region. So you can just click on the link, or any interested person can access that link, and there you will see in 2020 I presented my end line elections research findings, and in there, the NPP was supposed to have a first round victory with 51.4. I think in the link there, it was reported by Joy News, I think 50 News, if you check the link, way back in 2020. And so that was the major one. And one thing characteristic about the findings that I put out is that I meet the press and I give them enough time for them to, at the spot, seek some clarification and all those things, because they are the source of determination of the research reports. And that is what I do. So on major occasions, about 4 major occasions, I've met the press on varying research works of national interest. And you have some of the links in the report for your reference. So that is it. I've heard people ask about track record and all those things. In fact, tell them there are fine brains in the universities who can get involved in this thing called elections research and can help shaping the discussion. But sometimes our primary work is to do the university teaching and research supervision and all those things. And so on occasions where I get the time, I'm able to do these things. And I've always, at the end of my study, met the press, giving them enough time to interrogate the station, and also on occasions join panel like you have given me, the opportunity you've given me to help explain for clarifications and all those things.
I see. Within what period did you collect data for this particular work? Because the timing is important, because a lot of things happen, and so it's important we know, so we sit with that properly.
Right. Thank you, Salom. So April 1 to April 30, and I've indicated that in the report.
So between 1st April and 30th April, that was when you did your data collection. What was your sample size? Talk to us generally about the methodology you adopted in this particular survey.
Right. Thank you so much. And I'm glad my very good friend Musa Dankwa is there. I was expecting the two of us to engage backstage, but I've read a lot of posts on social media, no problem. Let me take this opportunity to explain myself. I'm sure maybe from here, some of the nerves will be calmed. My first comment is that there are requirements for selecting samples for any such research, whether it's elections research or any research, and we all know that. Even though the process of selecting part of a whole, the process of sampling is quite a simple process, it is guided by rules and regulations. There are laws guiding the concept of sampling. So, for example, in our instance, we are supposed to do a minimum of 16,500 because the population of registered voters in Ghana as of 2020 was about 17 million. And in that election, 2020, about 13.4 million came out to vote. So there is that range between 13.4 million and the 17 million. Anybody that seeks to do sample would have to do a minimum sample size of about 16,500 in our case. So that is the minimum requirement. And then there are rules that also suggest that even in selecting that sample, you need to make sure that sub-samples are represented. And that is very key to the concept of sampling, the concept of representation. I agree that you don't need to do 275 constituencies to demonstrate representation. But the law of statistical regularity, the law of central limits theorem suggests that the more sub-samples you include, the more accurate your work is. So yes, for good reasons, for whatever reasons, you may not be able to reach all 275 constituencies, but that is the best. Any study that reaches all the characteristics of the population, at least sub-samples of all the characteristics, is statistically stable, statistically reliable than those that are unable. I'm not saying if you are unable to reach it means it's not a good sample, but the larger the better. That's what I mean. The larger the better. And so that is it. So I was supposed to do a minimum of 16,500 minimum requirement. But because the law of inertia of large samples says that the more you do, the better, if there is that opportunity, increase the sample size. And so I increased mine maybe triple or so to about 59,000, almost 60,000. That ensures inherent stability. That ensures inherent reliability because you are getting closer to the population. The more you increase, the better. That's what the law is talking about. And then the subsample representation to a constituency's share of this sample becomes your contribution to the voter register. We know they don't contribute equally to the voter register. Some have more numbers than the others. And so that is how we have on the appendix some constituencies, more persons interviewed as against the other constituencies. The rule is strictly based on your contribution to the total voter register. So that is the concept of sampling that I use. The first level is the subsample units, which are the constituencies. You create clusters within those constituencies, or if you like, communities or electoral areas, and then selection of the individual participants based on stratification, 18 to 39 as one structure, 40 plus as the other structure. It's very, very transparent, statistically stable methodology.
I see. Good one. I want us to delve into the work proper in terms of the various questions you asked. For example, which political party are you likely to support in the 2024 presidential election? But before that, Musa, I'm sure Musa has a few things to say. So maybe you want to respond to what Dennis said earlier.
Just a quick one. You know, we are not a think tank at Global Info. We are a company. Yeah. We will exit after MPP and NDC. So we're not here to play any political parties game. We also have international clients, if he cares to know. And those international clients don't go with biased posters. Yeah. They have their own benchmark of doing that. So we are quite confident. We know this politics and we understand how they describe it. That is fine. The next point I wanted to chip on what Prof said is that there is no, America has over 120 million voters, right? There is no minimum sample requirement for Ghana. It depends on your margin of error and your confidence level, Prof. Indeed, if you want to sample Ghana's voters population, let's say it's 18.5 million, and you choose 95% confidence level and margin of error of 1.5, you only need to interview 4,268. There is nothing like that. So, Prof, I think you have to correct that so that if you look at America, Emerson does polls. The biggest sample that I've seen with Emerson in the US polls was 6,000 sample. And Emerson is one of the leading polls in the US.
So how about the law of inertia of large samples? The larger, the better.
You see, it is about how representative the sampling deployment is. And if you deploy randomness in it, it makes the whole thing richer. We can interview 5,000, but the deployment of the sample will represent the actual voting population. You can deploy 100,000, but the sample frame could be wrong. Now, I want to get this from Prof, some clarification. When he spoke to Umaru Sanda last Thursday, he said that this survey was done at the back of a World Bank study, of household study. And I know household study for World Bank doesn't use EC frame to allocate the sample size. So if you can clarify that if indeed it was at the back of a World Bank project, which World Bank has their own sample frame, which will have nothing to do with the voting register, that will be based on something else. And I heard him say that the samples were administered among people who are not partisan, who have shops and stores. These are not typical voters. If you can clarify that for us today, that's the only thing I have for him to answer.
All right, Prof, so is it a case that you said you used data from a certain World Bank household survey report or something?
Now, while that was going on, this was added as part of the questionnaire.
Okay, so kindly clarify that for us, if that's the case. Hello, Prof?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So did you hear Musa? Musa wanted to know whether.
Yes, I heard.
Okay.
I heard my brother. Yeah, sure.
So kindly clarify that for us.
Yes, please. Let me clarify. So, if there is a work that I am handling, and I have people trained and deployed to go and do activity 1, and I think there is an issue of national interest, and so as the people are in those communities doing activity 1, we have people call on the main activity I attack people, perhaps save the same cost if they are in the same car or in the same accompaniment, the same accommodation, it will just fit in. And all I need to do is maybe pair my side trained data collectors to the teams moving. I don't think this one means that it is World Bank survey frame that I'm using. All I'm saying is that, and I said it on your station, I spoke with Umar, and all I said was that how I got to the field was an opportunity created by one survey, and then knowing that that survey is going to be nationwide, I got people to also move, and you know there will be some cover-ups in there. Maybe if I have to fuel a car to a place and the project car is going, and I have one or two of my team members in it to do this specific one for me. I'm a very transparent person, and that's why I willfully provided this. I don't have maybe the level of sponsorship that he has. It would have been perhaps reflective in how frequent I could do this. So that is just the level of transparency I decided to be. But it is not to say that if somebody is going to do a World Bank household survey, that person at the household level is still maybe asking questions about political whatever. My explanation was that the people who got the opportunity to do my data collection for me, and it was about cost, because it's going to be very expensive if I was going to be single-handedly sponsoring people to these places. And I said that, I run several other projects, and it is true. Seriously, I do university teaching and research, but I'm a consultant, as you can see on my profile. And I run several, by God's grace, several contracts do come, some from local, some from international organizations. If I have any issue of national interest, and I think I can train people to help me with that alongside, it will not directly be interpreted as it is World Bank's project that was converted into elections project. I don't think that should be the interpretation or the right interpretation. And this is just a sideline information I willfully gave to Umar based on how I was able to reach that wide number of constituencies. So it is not the point. It is not the point. I don't have money, I don't have funding. So if I get a project and my people are going to, let's say, Central Region, already established project, going to Central Region, I say, oh, fine. Then Joe come, this one come, let's do this alongside. These people are going to do A, but when you get to the communities, you do A, B, and C for me, sideline. I think that is all that I meant, and it is not the case of unethical and all those things. I know the World Bank contract will not allow you to merge these things. I know you should trust that if he knows research, the research professor will also know, at least if not up to his level. Yeah, some level of ethical contributions in research. So I saw those comments on Facebook and I was like, oh, but my brother, you should know that I know ethical research. I know these things that you are talking about. And I saw him asking World Bank to maybe, I mean, he tagged Robert, my brother, you are going too far. I am transparent and willing to tell you how I get to my data. Sometimes I even go there myself. Sometimes I have a team. I've been in this business for quite a long time, and I have teams in several regions. In fact, I have independently laid pipes in all electoral areas in Ghana, single-handedly. And so when he mentions any electoral area in Ghana, I can tell you my representatives in that electoral area. At the level of electoral area, not constituency. And that is how I can easily take some of this information. The one I mentioned is not to sound unethical or say World Bank gives you contracts and you change and you use it to do, or you pay data. No. I don't think you should stretch the matter to that level. And then the matter of sample size, Salom. And I'm glad you asked about the law of inertia of life samples. You see, you can even take one, and especially when you are doing qualitative research. Salom, you know that in qualitative research, you do not need large numbers. All right? People with some level of elevation factor can gather and they can speak for a large number of people or to speak to represent them. And when I say elevation factor, I am using this word because it is very important thing to consider in opinion pool. And that is why any researcher should not be just happy that, oh, it is allowed to use 10 sample size and it is still a representation of blah, 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 and forget about elevation factor. Opinions do change, Oselom. And this is opinion pool. And that is why the law of inertia of large sample should always be matching along with your liberty to choose 10 sample size. You choose that 10 sample size, but once you are going to generate quantitatives, not qualitatives, you really have some level of obligation to not disregard the law of inertia of large sample. All right.
I see. So Musa, your poll was conducted when?
We started the polling.
The data collection
started in end of March and was released first week of April.
Okay, so in the case of Prof, the data was taken between 1st and 30th. Yours was taken towards around end of
about
March.
10 days to yeah.
All right, I see. So I want to go through the polls generally, and I get Dennis to tell us how.
Because I'm not a professor.
I'm addressing now. So Dennis, how they as politicians read these polls and what they take from them and all of that. So Musa has done some work. So let's see. So the lead for Musa's work really is the fact that if elections were conducted at the time the results were taken, John Mahama was likely to win. And I'm just trying to dig up so John Mahama was likely to win, and that's on your screen as we speak. Or yes, it's on the screen now. John Mahama was. This is a voting intention of committed voters. What do you mean by voting intentions?
You know, we ask people who do you intend to vote for if elections were held today, and we don't give them any names. So they just mention the names they want to vote for.
Okay.
And if the name they mention is not on the list, that will be someone else who's not on the list. And then also we have a response. In the field, you would encounter those who said, I'm undecided.
Okay.
And then you will encounter those who said, I will not vote. So in the much detailed report, we will account for all the people who said they will not vote or they are undecided. Now, the committed and likely voters means that you exclude voters who said they were undecided or I will not vote from the calculation, and see those who have actually mentioned names and see who leads in that. That is the what we call the committed likely voters model.
So what was your lead, your banner headline for this particular work in terms of percentage that the party or a candidate would get?
Now, if you look at what's on the screen right now, using the weighted committed voted model, Mahama was on 55.5%.
Okay.
The all voters model is much lower because you have view of those who said they will not vote or undecided. But when you exclude them, then the percentage gets a bit higher. And Baumia on 33.9%, Alan 7.1, Kwambediako 2.1, and Goom 0.7. Now, it's also important to understand that when you are weighting the poll, we've concluded that party affiliation is very important for the outcome of the elections. So we've kept a track record, or what we call the polling average of people who said they were MPP or NDC over a month of 27-month period. So we track that data every time we go to the polls. So when you do the moving average of the last 90 days or so, then you see where each party actually is in terms of popularity. Now, in the latest poll that we did, the moving average, committed voters, NDC is about 57% moving average. MPP, no, that's not a party affiliation. Let me just get that data. Okay. That is much earlier in the... Okay. So the gap between NPP and NDC is 4% NDC advantage.
4% NDC advantage.
So 34% for NDC and 30% for MPP. But you have a chunk of voters who said they will not disclose their party affiliation to you. That number is about 14%. We found a correlation between that number and MPP numbers. So when MPP numbers go down, that number of undisclosed go up.
Just say that again. If MPP numbers go...
In terms of people who say they are MPP.
Yes.
When the number dips, those who say I will not disclose goes up. So we believe that a chunk of those people who say they will not disclose belong to the MPP.
But why wouldn't they disclose?
It's for their own personal reasons. They don't want to tell you.
So that is different from the undecided?
That's different from undecided.
Okay, so
when we talk about undecided, it's about choices. Who would you vote for? Undecided. It could be NDC undecided, MPP undecided, floating undecided are undisclosed undecided. It's not the same as party affiliation.
Yeah, so your connection, connecting the undisclosed to the MPP. I thought normally these people don't disclose because of certain fears. So for example, the MPP is the incumbent. MPP is in government. So usually the incumbent people are those who are more likely to be expressive. So to connect the undisclosed to the MPP, that's a bit...
No, we have data.
Okay.
So if you look at the regional breakdown of undisclosed, where are those numbers coming from largely? If it's coming from a region that MPP should be dominant, and MPP should be around, 40 or 50% in that region, and they are now on 35, then you can safely presume that difference which should have gone to MPP has gone to undisclosed.
It could also mean that because it's MPP dominated area and they don't want to vote for MPP.
No. You see, we must draw a line between vote and party affiliation.
Okay.
Those two are different. But there are people who are MPP who are voting for NDC candidates and vice versa. So party affiliation has nothing to do with the eventual financial, even though it's highly correlated. But there's a limit to which you can stretch that.
I see.
Yes.
So was there something so how about first-time voters, for example? What did your data reveal in terms of first-time voters? Of course, the EC has been doing a limited voter registration exercise, which is mainly targeted at the young people and the first-time voters.
Yes.
You did this before this current one. So are there people 17 years, 18-year-olds?
No, these are 18 years old.
18-year-olds
who have voted before.
Who have not voted before.
Yes.
So these are the people that
and there are people who are even much older than that
who have not voted before. And so part of the people the EC is targeting.
Yes.
So what did your data reveal in terms of the voting, the intention of those first-time voters?
No, you first have to look at their party affiliation. How they were aligning themselves. In the poll, about 22% of them said they were MPP affiliate.
Okay.
And then about 25 were NDC affiliate, and 26% said they were floating voters. Then you had about 4% saying that they support other smaller parties, and 23% said they will not disclose their party affiliation.
Okay.
But then if you look at their voting intention, then you see something different. Let me just try and get the data for first-time voters. But at the moment, majority of first-time voters are voting for John Mahama, according to the data right now. I'm just trying to pull the data. I don't know whether your colleague will put the data out there. Let's see. First-time voters.
So we have...
you have on the screen.
Okay. So how likely... Okay, so I have party affiliations of non-first-time voters.
Yes.
Party affiliations of first-time voters. Yes, that's what you just dealt with, right? Okay, all right. So just be pulling that one out. Let me talk to Prof. So Prof, your first question was, which political party are you likely to support in the 2024 presidential election? And your data suggests that the data suggests that 38.8% said they were going to vote for NDC, and 34.5% said they were going to vote MPP, 3.6% for other parties, and then 23.1% were undecided. Can you take us through this?
Well, Shalom, thank you so much. I would wish, maybe if not now, somewhere in there's time, I would wish that maybe my brother will take us through his methodology and what defined his sample. All right, so that maybe we can all learn. We are in the same business. If you have a superior sample definition, maybe we can share with the general public, so that because he is using a smaller sample, I've not had the opportunity to read the full paper, so I do not have information on what defined his sample and the selection process. So we can talk about that. But straight to my question, I will plead that those who are confusing the questions that I asked would take it from here for the very last time. The first one is in respect of political parties. And we are measuring their level of activeness at the base. You can call it popularity at the base. And so that is the response we have over there. In the regional distribution, you will see that in about 8 regions, more constituencies that constitute those 8 regions are judging that the NDC as a party is quite active, popular in those constituencies that makes up those regions. And then in some 7 regions, you can see that the NPP party at the base, various constituencies, are quite active. Salom, I am doing a baseline survey. The report you have is baseline. I don't know whether my brother's one is maybe end line or something, because he's using the word vote. But at the baseline level, you assume that political engagements are yet to heighten. Is the number one assumption. You don't assume that many of the voters have been engaged, and so they are at the point of near decision or those things. So that is the assumption I work with. Maybe that's what is making people misunderstand, or the controversy part. Maybe that's why. So I am looking at how prepared are they to engage those communities, even at the baseline duration. And you find that the party NDC has some 4 percentage points above the party NPP in respect of their activeness at the various constituencies. The level of activities, you can call it the level of popularity at those constituencies. 4 percentage points, I think 38.8 versus 34.5 or so, if you have the data in front of you. I am struggling to get to the laptop, and therefore I'm unable to join by Zoom.
Yeah, so there's 38.8, 34.5, about roughly 4 percentage points difference.
Exactly. And please, this one is not a judgment over the personality of the candidates that are contesting those on the ticket of those political parties. It's about sending the message to political actors or political parties that they need to engage the constituencies more, and that as at this 31st April, the NDC is engaging in more constituencies than the NPP. I think to them, the political parties especially, and the other smaller parties, the message is that your level of engagement is not enough, to the extent that 23% cannot judge or weigh your level of popularity or engagement in those constituencies. So it's a clear message to them, and it is one of the objectives of a baseline survey, to give direction in what the interested parties are supposed to do. Then comes the second part, which is the candidates they are likely to support. The candidates they are likely. We are not at the point of voting yet. We have to allow the voters enough time to engage these candidates. But before the candidates take time to engage them more, better than they had done maybe as at 30th April, likelihood of they choosing candidate 1, candidate 2, candidate 3 is what has been reported in the next section. In fact, surprisingly, I find people taking section 2 and equating it to section 1. And they make the claim that it is automatic that once a political party is active at a constituency, its presidential candidate, they are not talking about parliamentary candidate, must go automatically along with the activeness of the political party at the constituency. My recommendation is that some of their representatives at the base are not carrying along the presidential candidate much as they carry themselves in those activities, at least at this level of engagement that they have had. And so this line survey will give you opportunity to urge your people that, hey, let's carry each other along. Because the fact is that even though you are doing well at the constituency level with some level of activities, you are not carrying along the flag bearer. This is what I sought to communicate with the 2 sections. Then the other 2 sections are what I call the People's Manifesto. What are going to be your critical issues, and then some of the factors you are going to base your decision on. So I think when we get there, we will discuss. But in respect of this first 2, it is just a clear baseline characteristic question backed by literature. In our case, Salom, there has not been any occasion where region by region, what the party representatives get, put the constituencies together, PC1, PC2, PC3, put them together, sum up all their votes. There has never been the case in our Ghanaian jurisdiction that what they get automatically translates into what the president gets or the presidential candidate gets. In occasions, you find presidential candidates getting more than even the party representatives put together. And in other cases, you get the party representative votes put together becoming more than. That assumption of automatic transfer of activeness of a constituency to the candidate, I think the political party should look at it again and rather take advantage of the 7 months ahead to help improve the situation. It has existed in our books for quite a long time, and we must take this research findings serious so that if we cannot even change it entirely, we can close up the margin of variation between what parties do get at the constituency as against what the flag bearers or the candidates do get. This is just a friendly recommendation I sought to give out to the political parties.
Very well. So we'll come to the issues. You call it factors. Musa calls it issues that will determine how voters will vote. We'll come to that in a bit. Musa will respond to the issue about methodology and all of that, baseline, end line, and I'm sure he has a few points to raise. Let me speak to Franklin Koryoo, who's been waiting on the sideline for a while. Hello, Franklin. Welcome to... I think I'm getting feedback from somewhere. But all right, Franklin, I'm sure there's feedback coming from somewhere. My producers will deal with that. Yes, Franklin, you're welcome to the program. I don't know what your thoughts have been on the discussion so far, but I know that Imani also has been doing some work. You call it the pulse report. Can you tell us what the pulse report is intended to do, and what the general upshot of the latest, your latest round or your latest work is in respect of how the various candidates in the upcoming election look? Hello, Franklin. Hello, Franklin. I will take a very short break so we resolve the technical challenges we are having. We'll take a short break. This is a big issue on 97.3 City FM and also on Channel 1 TV. We're looking at the general issues of polls, etc., and analyzing the recent polling data. Miracles Abuaji is here. He's soaking everything in. I'm sure. I'm sure.
You actually assume I'm very professional.
I'm sure he'll come up with something exclusive soon. I'll give you enough time to talk. We'll be back soon. Don't go away. You're welcome back. This is a big issue. We are on Channel 1 TV. We are on 97.3 City FM. My name is Selom Adunu. My guest this morning, Dennis Miracles Abuaji, who has not really spoken yet on the polling matters. He has said other things on other issues. Prof. Smart Sapon, Director of Research and Innovation, Kumasi Technical University. Musa Dankwa, who is Executive Director for the Global Info Analytics. And Professor Kwapon of the CDD is also on. Franklin Koryoo, President Imani Africa, is on. Imani Africa, Franklin was about speaking before we took that break. Imani Africa, for the past few months, has been doing what they call the polls report, which tries to gauge the polls of people on social media in respect of political parties and election 2024. I needed him to take us through what exactly that means and what the latest was. I think the latest was somewhere in May, but he will clarify that. Franklin, sorry we couldn't hear you initially. Thanks for joining. Wanted you to clarify for us what the pulse report is supposed to be doing and how influential that is in the lead up to the election, or I don't even know how to put it, whether it's an indicator of where people's thinking is. Just clarify that for us.
Well, good morning to your good self and my friends in the studio and Professor Kwapon and the other professor. Well, listen, I think the conversations are very useful. They are good to be had. As far as our sentiment, what we call the public understanding and literacy for sentiment and election analysis goes, which is POPS for short. Essentially, we want to determine the sentiment on social regarding the major political contenders for the election, as well as the influential trends and influences that are shaping social media discourse. But the analysis are referenced from a number of platforms. So we have Facebook, the X, which used to be Twitter, YouTube, the web itself, TikTok, podcasts, and news feeds. Essentially, we actually purchased an algorithm. We purchased it's an AI tool that we purchased monthly, by the way, which allows us to be able to monitor all these conversations depending on how the influence. Depending on whether what conversations that are related to trends, there may be conversations that the flag bearers may have had, or just generally the news media, the media itself has generated, which is being discussed on social media as well as other platforms. And then we are gauging the affinity towards a particular candidate based on whether it's positive, negative, or even neutral. So that's what we've been doing over the past couple of months. And when we began, so typically we have, for instance, hashtag Muhammad, or the other parties. So we expanded it to include the other parties, which is rather interesting if you look at the results that we've had so far. And I think for most of the results we've obtained, it appears, we monitored that and monitored some of the polls that were conducted by the likes of Musa, the likes of even Joy and City. And yes, of course, Afrobarometer is yet to do its other rounds. But consistently, we see that there's some correlation in terms of the, because ours is not really a poll, but these are just sentiments being expressed. You realize that sentiments actually feed into polls, right? But so the sentiments we normally engage and report tend to mimic. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm with you.
Hello?
Yes, I'm with you. Frankly, you're on.
Okay, well, if you can hear me, I'll continue.
Yes.
So the sentiments we collect, them put for lack of a better term, tend to mimic some of these.
I see. So your sentiment collation or collection, does that take account, or of course, does that take account of how political parties
issues that? Hello.
Yes, can you hear me? I'm putting a question. I'm saying that in your collation of the sentiments, do you take account of the fact that some political parties actually heavily invest in getting their information through the social media? I mean, empowering their communicators to engage, actively on social media to push the so-called positive sentiments of their candidates and negative sentiments of the other candidates. Do you notice that, or do you take account of that, or is there a way you find out, or is that the general thing that the report gives?
Well, under normal circumstances, I suspect the question really would be whether they invest in boxes and buying robots, which essentially will be doing some of these conversations. Essentially, the tool you're using is able to detect all of that, so not quite. And I don't think they've even begun investing in bots yet. No, not at all. These tend to actually crawl in such a way that we pick certain highlights as well. So, for instance, let me give you. Recall that when Baumian made the point about the driver's mate, something like that. And I think when we monitored it, you realize that when he made that speech, that's his famous speech, the day he gave his famous driver's mate speech, we realized that the sentiments during that time were quite negative. I mean, the reception was quite negative. There's a party, by the way, NPP, which has dominance on social media, right? In terms of numbers, in terms of reach, they have some comfortable dominance, because a lot more people tend to gravitate towards, a lot more people who are on social media tend to gravitate towards the NPP. So they don't even have to do so much as in trying to generate conversations, debates, and what have you. Just a few people just pushing some of their handles or their conversations would go far. Incidentally, I think we've had 2 or 3 instances where Oromia has made certain comments, and you could see instantly the backlash. In the same vein, when Nanado made a statement about, was it John Mahama, that he doesn't want John Mahama to inherit him or something like that, you could see clearly that somehow the conversation, how do I put this? In fact, it made Mahama lose some affinity towards his person or his party as well. So it depends on the trend, it depends on the influences and the conversations that are being had at a particular period in time. In fact, when Professor Nana was named the flag bearer, and when she obviously made it, it gave a boost to the NDC when we look back and try to assess what had happened within that particular week or so. So clearly, it is responsive. Our sentiment analysis actually responds to current issues and depending on who are actually driving some of these issues. So you are right, to some extent, if we have some interesting influencers who could be pushing some of these narratives, it may impact on the results. But what we've seen so far, as I said, is in clear tandem with some of the random polls that are being held. So again, sentiments feed into polls, feed into people's preferences. So to that extent, I can say that there's some closeness, but I don't want to call it, ours is not true, not at all. But the latest of the results we have, which is the 7th report, 7th edition, the first one had NPP sentiment growing quite, in fact, for the first 3 sentiments that report that we wrote, the NPP was actually doing bad. And this is actually in spite of the fact that, as I mentioned not long ago, that the NPP has dominance, has far more reach on social media, has far more sympathizers of the 6 million potential people who are on social media. NPP seems to have a lot more of that. But it was interesting that the first 3 episodes showed the NPP doing terrible, very, very poor. Then they started doing a bit well, I think, from the 5th and 6th. Then the 7th sentiments report, we see that the positive sentiments towards NPP has started declining again. And sometimes you ask yourself what probably may have been the reason. I mean, the highest spike in for instance, I'm just trying to get hold of this particular item. In any case, as I'm saying, it depends. It depends on what actually happens during the period that we collect this sentiment. So, as I said, the NPP used to we started doing a bit well again, but unfortunately, the positive sentiment started negating. And so, that's just about it in a nutshell. So it's not really a poll. As I said, we use AI tools to determine the intensity of conversations. If we are able to determine even no, this will come back later. But so essentially, that's just what I thought I should. Yeah.
Great. So I'll come back to you, Franklin. So miracles. Yes, so we've seen all these polls, Imani doing the polls, the Pulse report, which is essentially a coalition of views on social media to determine where the sentiments are. Musa Dankwa doing his thing, and now Professor Smart. Sapon also put out something. As a political party, when you sit in your strategy room, how do you look at all of this? Of course, I know political parties or any serious political party will commission their own polls, and you just said that about 9 polls or so in the last few months have come to you. I don't know how they came to you, whether people did them and sent them to you, or you commissioned them. I don't know. How do you, consume all of this? How do you work through all of these to get your direction?
So out of the 9, about 2 of them are diplomatic.
Okay.
Institutions. Yeah. So they actually wrote formally to share their report with us. I think about 3 of them are actually multinational companies in Ghana, and then another one is just an international.
So does it mean when they are sharing this with you, it's positive to you, or
no? There are negative. There are some that are negative. There are some that are positive. When you read them, some aspect of it is negative. That's why I told you that. For us, when we are looking at the polls and the results, we don't look at the numbers. The numbers really don't mean anything. To be very honest with you. Because it could change, and it's a campaign period. In fact, if you pick any credible polls, as at December 2023, and you pick the same polls today, you would have seen that a lot has changed for the MPP and NDC. Yeah. We didn't even have a candidate, at the time. The candidate hit the road just around ending of March. Between the time the candidate has been on the road and now, a lot have changed. So that's where it is. My concern, really, with all the conversation that go, and Salom, I'm not completely ignorant of data issues. I actually own a marketing research firm.
Really?
Yes, I sell data. Yes, I sell data. I sell thousands of data from downstream petroleum, midstream FMCGs. That's what I do. So I understand data. I understand data science. I understand statistics. I understand sampling sizes and how it works and everything. I understand it correctly. Everybody goes out there to do surveys and polls with specific objectives. I mean, when you listen to Franklin, they have their own objective. They have their own sense of what they want to get. And so I find it very strange when I have a poster questioning another poster and trying to look like, I mean, Mr. Musa Dankwa cannot be the only poster in Ghana.
I didn't question.
It is not. No, but it's a worry. For example, let me show you something. It's a worry. It's out there in public, and it's a worry. If you follow the streak of posts from Musa Dankwa, I think it's in bad faith. It's in bad taste. If I read some of them, I mean, it could come from other people, but you read it and you have a sense of maybe some jealousy, a sense of envy. But to be very honest with you, it is not only the 2 of them who are doing polls in Ghana.
Yeah, but what's the sense of jealousy and envy? If you need clarity on an aspect of the work, why not?
No, you see, it was a World Bank project. He added his personal questions to the baseline study. Did the World Bank agree to this? Ethical. It was a household survey and was not a random selection. MPP and NDC voters were excluded according to details revealed. If it is titled a research, it will be critiqued by people including yourself. The target sample were businesses in stores and shops, and they don't belong to any political party. How is that got to do with anything that any of the results is showing? No, and then he made a very important point. Hold on, he made a very important point. He said that he went to talk to shop owners, and they are not necessarily voters. He said that. You can play it back. Maybe he can correct himself. But if he actually said that, then that's quite unfortunate. Who says that if you're a poster and you go out there, you should look for MPP and NDC people? That can be your objective. And you know there's nothing wrong with that. You can actually choose that. Like maybe he's
it depends on your objective.
Exactly. You can go out there and say that, listen, I'm going to conduct a survey and I'm going to talk to pure party people and track them and follow their switches. But you cannot come and question another poster who has decided not to go down that lane. So if somebody goes to a shop today, comes to the shop around, goes to Papaye to go and talk to people because it's Papaye, you are saying that, and that's on record, it's on video.
No,
that those people
he said interview with Umar Sanda on Situation Room. He said.
No, but when you were saying that, you didn't say that. You said that because you got the credit. My worry is that the series, when you read the thing, it's marks of jealousy.
Jealousy that was.
Yes. And I'm saying that. Yes, I'm saying that he should have that in mind. And again, the polls that have come, the results are all they are different. And City today, ChannelOne today, you walk in here and conduct a survey this morning, come back tomorrow. You have a different result because human beings are not robots. They are not machines. You are talking to Salom. Salom says, I'll vote for Skywater. Tomorrow morning, Salom decides that on his way, he saw maybe another water, he drank it. You come, his views will change. I think he's putting himself too much, and that is why I'm telling you, I have no doubt about that. And Koko Anyido has actually put out a video that when he was Deputy General Secretary, Mr. Musa Dankwa was coming to their meetings, and there was one time that they even asked him to go. So I have always insisted
and you believe that?
Yes, I believe it.
But you don't believe it.
But why are you determining who I should believe?
No, wait, but you just said you don't believe.
Yes.
You believe.
Yes.
But they are all political.
But I have my reasons why I don't believe. And Eduji's, my disbelief of him has been established by the contradiction. Hold on.
That's all right.
My disbelief of Eduji has been established by the contradiction. By the contradiction with his own boss. So I wasn't wrong. It tells you that you should even believe me more because I have basis.
So you believe Kokwanyi?
Because he was Deputy General Secretary.
Okay.
If the crocodile comes from the water to come and tell you that the frog is dead, who am I to disbelieve you? You understand? But I think that we should embrace all the.
But it doesn't even matter the political affiliation.
It does.
If you're doing a professional job, it's data. You spoke to 10 people. You spoke with 10 people. 5 of them say they will do this. 3 say they will do this. 2 say they are.
If you are NDC and you go out there like he's doing, he's skewing the results. That's what he's doing. What he's doing. Why not let me? When they were talking, you doing.
They were talking.
Allow me to speak.
I'm saying that if I go out and I talk to 10 people, 5 of them say they will vote for MPP. 3 say they will vote for NDC.
Yes.
When
he's publishing, what he does is
that changes.
Yes.
That'll be unprofessional.
But he's doing it.
He's doing unprofessional.
That is why he gets uncomfortable when he gets other polls and other results that are not speaking the language that he's trying to speak. Why you don't think so is not me thinking so.
But
I'm not the only one that holds this view.
I see.
There are millions of Ghanaians who have actually followed him and hold the same view. And that is why when he does the polls, he's giving big margin of errors. So that when he guesses wrong, what's the margin? What's
the margin of error he gives now?
But he's here. Why?
No, he gives about. You ask alleged.
He gives about. How much did he give for Ajeso? How much did he give for Ajeso?
No, at the time he did it.
How much did he give for Ajeso?
What was the margin of error for Ajeso?
It was 3.4%.
But if you give margin of error,
no, but Ajeso a stronghold on the MPP. If you give a margin of error for 3,
why are you?
No, I'm.
So if you go and conduct a polls and then you give a margin of error 3.5, and then the person gets 53. Then you come and say that because I gave some margin of 3.5, that's why I'm there. You can give any margin of.
No, but you see the Ajeso example was Ajeso is a stronghold.
You are not. It doesn't matter.
No,
I am telling you
a stronghold.
I am telling you that first of all there are a lot of.
You will respond. So
it's I didn't put the things you put on your Facebook.
You just go ahead.
See, there are people who are commenting.
But there are two words.
There are people who are commenting on the sentiment on why he was doing that. It was a series. It was like somebody who was so agitated. Okay, that he felt that why has somebody also done something that, but your post is not sacrosanct. You are talking to 6,000 people out of 80 constituencies, and you want us to take you talking to 6,000 people to be a representative of 17 million people against other people who are talking to 100,000, 70,000, 60,000 people. Is that what you are saying? That is why when they tell you that the larger the sample, the better. It's an established principle. Because if you come to me that you talk to 6,000 people, and this is the results you get, and somebody says I talked to 200,000 people, and I said that you the 6,000 one that you took should be representative of the views of the 17 million or so voters, and we should throw away the 200,000 people. That's problematic. And so I am just saying that let's understand that the polls that you are putting out are not necessarily the views of Ghanaians. It is what you have gone out there and decided to bring to us. And I still insist that his polls, he doesn't go anywhere. It is an Excel sheet. He does extrapolations. There are formulas. He runs them. He puts them out, skews them to satisfy a particular conversation. His objective was to shape a certain narration. It's not working. It is better he goes back to the professional way of doing the work, and then we cannot take it seriously. For example, those who do the polls, if they choose to bring us the reports, we'll read it. Even his polls that I know it's false. You know what I do? I read the narrations, because the narrations, when you read them, you can relate with them. Those ones are not somebody's view who has decided to switch some percentages or decided to just pick some extrapolation figures. But you can see that the people in this area, my people in Latte, if you go there and talk to them, they'll tell you that government should complete our road. That one cannot be a lie. So if you go to Latte today and come and tell me that Latte people says they don't they want water other than road, I know you are lying. But if I read it, then I'll take my own day and say, is that the case? So those are the things that is shaping our decision making in the strategy room. Not necessarily the numbers and not necessarily the figures, because at the moment, if you add his, it makes it about 10 or 11, and all of them are different. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Is the issues you focus on?
Not even just the issues. It depends on who you are talking to. That's why I said that if you come to Ekuapem North, you're talking to 80 people, because he's probably talking to just about 80 people in the whole of Ekuapem North. 80 people. If you look at his sampling size, in Ekuapem North, he's talking to just about 80 people, maximum 100, 120, in the whole of Ekuapem North. If you come there and you talk to 2 people in Ekropon, and go and talk to 2 people in Manfe, and go and talk to 10 people in Kwamoso, or talk to 20 people in Konko, you will get a different results. If somebody comes to Ekuapem North and talks to 10 people in Ekropon, 10 people in Latte, 10 people in Obosumase, you get a different results. So for us, the numbers don't matter, they don't mean anything. And as to predicting the results of elections in this country is easy. I am telling you that MPP and NDC, the worst you are losing with is about 47-48%. That is the worst you are losing with. The 2% plus 1 vote, that is determining the results of these elections. If you look at all the results, you use even 2000 as the modern elections till now, that 2% that is determining the results of this country are the ones that we are interested in. And those are the ones that we are interested in, what it is that they are saying. Because until we vote on December 7th, it is not a done deal. That is why one poll says Bawumia is leading, another poll says Mahama is leading. In fact, there's been even a poll that has given, I think I saw one of his polls, giving Alan Chamantin close to about 10 or 11%, which is not possible.
Well, Alan Chamantin cannot make 1%.
It is not possible.
He cannot make 1%.
It's at 10%.
Oh, 10%.
It is not possible.
Maybe it happened at the time there was an activity.
So that's also the point. That's the reason why. That's the reason why I'm saying that until you get to the point where we are going to vote, for you as a political party, the numbers don't mean anything. It is the
yes. So, but the posters will still bring out the numbers here.
But it doesn't mean that there are no biased posters. There are biased posters.
There are biased posters.
There are agenda
anywhere.
posters.
Yes, anywhere
there are agenda posters. Excel sheet posters. Those who are doing extrapolations, they are there. And it doesn't mean that when they come up, the same way he's questioning Professor Smart and asking all those things. I haven't seen the details of Prof. Smart's survey actually, because the whole of the past few days we're very busy. So I haven't even seen this. This is the first time I'm seeing this document. I only saw the front pages. But his I have seen. And I have no doubt that he doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't talk to any 6,000 people. He's using Excel sheet. He's on the computer. He sits down, extrapolate. You know why? Sometimes he will come back. I remember, was it just also Twitter? Some people even ask him, say, hey, when did DC even announce that we're going to have a by-election? John Kuma passes in about 2-3 days or 4 days or so. And within a week, he says, I've gone to Ejoso and back.
No, but but what's wrong with that?
Oh, I'm just saying. Why? I am just also asking the same questions. Were you not here when he was asking another?
No, we are allowed to ask questions.
Yes, so let me also ask the questions.
But your questions are laced with a lot of things.
Yes, but that's the truth. That's a fact.
Let me engage.
So I am saying that for us, all the polls are working and they are part of our strategy. Good. We are utilizing them. We are working with them. But we are calling on the posters to be a bit more professional and ethical and stop trying to skew.
Very well. We don't say anything. Will you have a quick response? I don't
want to engage in
sure. I mean, he's a politician. He's a politician.
But he's a politician too. He went to the NDC meeting.
And he says a data.
He went to the NDC meeting. He's not a politician.
First and foremost, Anyedoho. I believe he's a pastor. He says he's a pastor. I have never met him in my life. Never seen him in my life.
Then it says Koryoo a pastor.
For a pastor to say this,
I don't know him. I don't know.
Okay. To say this, you believe him. So
why? Because the former deputy general secretary.
I thought because he's a pastor, you are believing.
I don't know whether he's a pastor.
Let me land.
He is a deputy general.
I have never seen him in my life.
Okay.
I only see him on newspapers. Secondly, we're a market research company. We do presentation for our data to people who have interest in seeing the data. I have done presentation to embassies. I have done presentation to international companies. I have even said that if you want to see our data, we can come and show it to you. We are a private company. So if NDC calls us to come and show them the data, what I'm showing them is what I'll show you. I don't deny that we are very ethical.
So what is being attributed to Koryoo that he said
let me give you the context.
They sagged different.
They were doing a retreat and they said, can you come and explain to us what your data means? Why did I go there in darkness? I signed my name there.
I didn't say you went to darkness.
No, I'm telling you.
Just to establish the fact.
But you painted a picture as if he was attending NDC.
Why he was?
No, he was not attending. No, he was there to do a presentation on his work.
But NDC are not saying that.
So you believe the NDC now?
But why you want to determine for me?
No, but you just said you don't believe something.
No, but it was a person.
It's all right.
We have invested in building credibility. That is why when Fitch Solution does its presentation to investors globally, what did they cite? A skewed poll or credible poll? And Fitch controls billions of investment in terms of where people move.
But you don't.
No, let me tell you. If Fitch solution was stupid to take our numbers because they think we are, I mean, then they are probably deceiving their investors. We have credibility. We are receiving calls from international people who said they have received testimonies that we are the only credible company doing polling in this country.
How? How can you say you're the only credible?
No, but he is not, he is not saying it.
No, he is saying it.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Zales Dwayne in London says the credible post in Ghana now is Global Info Analytics, and it's a fact.
That's plenty people.
It's a voter.
There are people questioning this credibility.
Another one here from Pasolo in Sunyani says, good morning, Salom, and the Big Issue team. Please, what is the margin of error in Mr. Musa Dankwa and Professor Smart Sapon's work? Please, may I know if they factor in the voter apathy reloading? Most floating voters will not be voting, or please, just 18 registrants are planning to sell their votes to the highest bidder. I think Musa Dankwa's margin of error was 2.5%?
For the national poll, it's 1.6%.
1.6%.
Yes.
For Professor Smart, I know it's 1%.
It says 0.3.
No matter, so 1%. Okay, so I'll cross-check. Maybe it's on the line. Dr. Kwapong, thanks so much for joining us. I know you've been waiting for a while, and it's an interesting discussion. I know the discussion falls in your domain since you are an academic and a data person. But generally, I mean, it does appear that there's some, not disagreement, but quite some divergence in views in respect of what the polls should do or which poll is doing what, etc. What's your thinking around the discussion so far? Yes, so I'm asking what your thinking around the discussion is so far. No, I think we're still having issues with the sound. Maybe we'll have to resolve that and then see. We'll have to resolve that and then come back to this quickly. All right. So, Franklin, just to come back to you, in terms of the issues, I don't know if your work you did and your general observations, you know, as a civil society think tank, etc., have been able to throw up some of the issues that voters will be looking at in this coming election, the factors that will determine their votes or who they will vote for. In the case of Professor Smart Sapon, he looks at factors, according to him, factors of competence. Competence is key. 50.3%. Competence, track record, party affiliation, financial inducement, some people say non-consumer, religion, ethnicity, etc., are major factors that will play on their minds when they are voting. In terms of the critical challenge they feel the next president must address, they think the bigger majority of the people think that unemployment is key, inflation, economic slowdown, poor roads, water crisis, power crisis, illegal mining, debt crisis, LGBT rights, corruption, sanitation and climate crisis, forest loss, deforestation. These are the issues in that particular order. Musa Dankwa's poll also takes issues like, according to Musa's work, I'm just trying to dig that up quickly. For him, for his work, or for Global Info Analytics, jobs 66%, economy, education, roads, healthcare, corruption, taxes, petroleum prices, water, security, party member, sanitation, others, religion, ethnicity, in that particular order. These are the top issues for voters. Are you able to glean from your work or from your monitoring of social media and your civil society work what the key issues for voters will be in this particular election, frankly? Hello, Franklin. Today's one of those days where we are having difficulty. Franklin, if you can unmute yourself, can you unmute yourself? Let's see. Appears to be one of those mornings where technology is not being friendly to us. All right. So tell us how you came by the top issues for voters.
In the field, we asked them that we know they have several issues, but they should mention the top three that will feature on their mind when they go to vote. The top three of the issues.
Okay.
So when we aggregated, we realized that 60% of people who mention jobs as number one issue, as priority. And when you come to economy, about 64% as second issue for them, and then followed by education, I think 47 or 48.
Education, quite interesting because of free SHS, but this is not qualitative study. So
no, this is quantitative.
This is qualitative.
No, quantitative.
Yes. So you didn't drill down.
No,
I wanted to know what constituted education, which comes number 3, 47%.
No, top issue. What?
Just on top of the mind.
Yes,
so okay, so we didn't engage on that
one. So you can see that it's jobs, economy closely following, and then education, and then roads in that order.
I see.
But these numbers are not uniform across regions or constituencies. It differ. But when you aggregate them, understandable, you get this response. So these are the top issues for voters: economy and jobs. Top 2.
I see. So, Dennis, when you look at issues like this, unemployment, economy, jobs, etc., how does that affect your messaging to the people?
Well, I mean, you need to do 2 things. You need to, as an incumbent government, you need to let the people understand where it is that you've come from in that particular sector, what it is that you have done. You must show a scorecard and then give them assurance of why they should believe in the vision you are proposing. But the fact of the matter is that the decision on December 7th is a choice for the future, not at all. As for now, we're already living in it. We're already dealing with the now. 7th December is a choice for the future. And the people have the right to decide who they want to hand over the future to. Because once you get into that space, you have to wait for 4 years. There's nothing you can do about it. And the people now have a choice to make between 2 leading people: a former vice president, a former president, and a current vice president. And so everybody is going into this election with a scorecard. Your performance in government as vice president, your performance in government as president. And so if you haven't been president before, then you don't take that one. Then the third level is your personality. Why should the people trust you? And we have spent the last 2 months engaging 15 regions. And I can tell you, this election is going to drill down to who the people of Ghana trust. This is what this election is going to boil down to. Because whatever it is that former president is saying, that's not what the people are really hearing. Because they've seen you before.
Well, if we go into the matter of trust, are you not then playing into the NDC's hands? Because the NDC appear to be saying that Bawumia is not credible.
What they are saying is different from what the people know.
And that he's a liar. And they've coined
the biggest liar in this case is the one who came to us and told us that, you know what, I'm the spare driver in 2012. I beg you, make me the driver. That's his John Mahama. And then I would fix your energy crisis for you, because there was energy crisis at that time. He never did. By the time he was leaving December 16th, there was energy crisis in this country.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
The facts don't bear
that is not true. Which fact? As at March 2017, we had energy crisis in this country.
But some of your people, I'll just dig the name up, are on record to have said that he fixed it.
As at March 2017, there was energy crisis in this country. Go to your own web pages. March 2017, there was energy crisis. Fix what? You fix something that we are still experiencing.
So are you telling us that the doomsday we've experienced we are experiencing in the last few days is due to Mahama's inability?
No, it is due to the government's ability to keep the power on for 7 years, and that is a plus. Because all our energy challenge is just money problem, and we've been saying it since the Mahama time that the plants there, you can go and borrow them. It's not a big deal because you take it on credit. You tell people to come and build plants for you on credit, they will do it. And then you sign take or pay contract, they will do it. So whether you use it or not, come and build.
But those have saved us for.
No, they haven't. If you buy the plant and you did it, that is why Mahama bought a lot of plants, but we still had energy crisis. You know why? Because the economy did not have the muscle to buy the fuel to power the plant. That is the fact. You can't continue to throw that into the eyes of the people. Let me tell you, the only reason why this government has been able to keep our power on for 7 years is because the economy had the capacity to get the needed resources to buy fuel to power our plant. Simplicity.
This economy?
Yes, but that's why haven't you experienced power stability for 7 years?
No, because
haven't you?
Because somebody brought in the
That
plants.
is a lie. That
somebody
is a false.
That is a falsehood. That's
a falsehood.
That the car power ship came.
The person had the plant whilst he was in office, and we had energy crisis.
No,
logically.
No, but the plants were being built.
No,
so a lot of the plants came on stream
not true.
after he left.
No. A lot of the plants rather were on stream whilst he was in office. How many more of the plants that since he left have been brought in? How many more?
No, those deals were signed.
How many more?
Those deals were signed.
Compared to the ones that were
those
there.
deals were signed, but they are not come on stream.
Don't put dust in the eyes of the people. The fact of the matter is that the plants we have now, and nobody has disputed that. The fact is that Mahama credited the plant, which we are suffering for it as a country anyway. Because if you go and credit a plant on a take or pay basis, for the benefit of your viewers, what it means is that even though your economy was broke, you didn't need any money to go and buy the plant. All you had to do was to go and tell the plant owner that, you know what, I have energy crisis, I want plant. Come and build this for me. I don't have money to pay you. I'll take it on credit basis. As you generate the power, I'll pay you. But even if you generate the power and I don't use it, I'll pay. It's one of the reasons why you are struggling. And yet, no, let me make the point. It's a very important education. And yet, all these plants were there, and yet we had an energy crisis. Why? Because if you buy a car and you are broke, you can't fuel the car, you will still have to take trotro or walk. That's the simplest analogy. So the biggest difference between this government and the Mahama government is that this government has the money to go and pay for fuel to power the plant. But that's even by the way. So in terms of trust, you have been president. You left 100,000 children thereabout on the streets every year without going to school. Because you say you want to build all the classrooms before they go to school. Those parents have been forgotten. Because they wonder how you took the decision.
Let me finish your prof, and I'll come back to you. Now we are moving away from the posting.
You give them time when I'm speaking.
Oh, please, don't do that. Why you spoke it? No, we were speaking about data. Let me talk to Prof. Let Prof go, and I'll give you time. I'll give you time. I'll give you time. Prof, Dennis Miracles is a handful, but it's okay. Prof, I wanted to interrogate how you came by the issues or the factors that you say will influence people in choosing a presidential candidate. We see competency, we see track record, etc. How did you come by this?
Right, lawyer, thank you so much. Let me make a very brief comment in respect of the reaction of Mr. Dennis Miracle Abuaji in response to the almost near attempt to maybe attack the poster. When you do that, I know of many fine brains in the universities who are quite uncomfortable coming into the arena, and so we don't get the best out of the situation for fear of being kind of attacked and all those. So I wasn't too comfortable at the way perhaps he sought to. Research works will definitely come with some margins of error, and the certainty also will definitely be measured after the elections are over. So we have this actual versus predicted analysis we do post-elections. I'm sure my brother Musa has been doing that or can do that. So that is there. But the main fact is that if somebody gives you an idea of the content of the soup, with maybe a ladle full, you still have the obligation to take it seriously. And I'm happy he said he takes it seriously. The point I'm not happy with is perhaps the near attack or something. I saw something like that in your studio, and maybe Musa didn't talk about it. Let me say that one for him. Then back to my critical issues. The issues are aggregated from the constituency level and the regional level to the national level. And so, just as Musa said, from region to region, you may see one or two variations, but these are saturated data points. So at points of saturation, you could highlight the dominance of these things because they recur across. Jobs, number one, and Musa talked about the economy. If you sum 0.2, inflation, 0.3, economic slowdown, which is also economy, to 0.7, debt crisis, which is also economy, you would have about 33.5%. You know, the three things relate on the economy. So I would also sieve out job creation and economic improvement in the economic situation as the two topmost critical issues that voters are seeking solutions for, or seeking prospective presidents to give proper direction as to how these two critical issues will be resolved going forward. The deciding factors, which included competence, track record, party affiliation, inducement, and all those things, are also things that the candidates must take note. Take time, go to your people, demonstrate how competent you can be when given the opportunity, because we are looking at real critical issues like job, economy, blah, 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 facing us. What are you going to say to the prospective voters to convince them that, yes, you can be trusted with the ability to solve these problems for us? Track record. Do not leave behind your ability or the role you played when you got the opportunity, because I'm not even talking about the two leading, MPP, NDC. The rest, you all, one way or the other, have had the opportunity to influence your societies, to influence those prospective voters. How did you, in the opportunity you got, were able to do something? That is track record. And then comes the few, about 19% to party affiliation, telling you that there are some people who will vote for one party or the other based on their love for the party, irrespective of the issues that are pending. But the point I want to make, Salom, in respect of the deciding issues, is those about 3.5 who are looking for financial inducement. Please, Salom. We are reaching a state where this money inducement thing is taking away the God-given power for us to decide our own future. Let me advise those 3.7 prospective voters who will be awaiting financial inducement that that is definitely not going to be the way to go. The money you take today, I know people who sold their cocoa farms for Galamsey people, and in less than 6 months they have consumed the money, and they, for the next several years, do not know where they are going to get their daily bread. Please don't take money today and make an unwise decision, because perhaps the repercussion is going to long live. Then my last remark would be, going forward, let us have some soft position on the elections research that comes. The fact that you get feedback from the people you are going to seek their votes from, for me, should be valued, and not these sideline issues, as if I am a physician, an expert physician, a first-class surgeon, and I have a friend who is a taxi driver. It negates, or it kind of takes away my ability to conduct surgery. All right. I am a professor of statistics, a professor of research design and data analysis. And you go to social media and see people trying to ask why I can venture into an area in which I am a professor of. Let's take away all those sentiments away and accept the feedback that we get from the people. After all, when one day it is declared that one of them have won, my face will nowhere be near the winning party or whatever. Lawyer, please tell them to be very kind with us if we come up with such feedback. If not, we will leave it for them, and they will be going blindly and go, and they will end without any. It's like going and having nobody watching your back for you.
Very well. Very well. Prof, we thank you so much for your time and for the work you're doing. For the political people, Dennis and his people, don't mind them. I mean, no matter how you do it, they will have issues to raise. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and we appreciate it. Have a good morning. So that's Professor Smart Sapon, Associate Professor of Statistics, Director of Research and Innovation at the Kumasi Technical University, speaking on this research. We'll take a short break. When we return, we will wrap up. Don't go away. Hi, you're welcome back. This is the big issue. We are in our final lap of this discussion. The discussion on the post is taking a bit of time, and so we will shelve the discussion on the AG matter and conclude with this one. So, Franklin, we've been trying to work the lines. One of these days, I understand Zoom generally is having a problem. I mean, technology sometimes can be a challenge. So I was trying to find out from you, from your post report, your pulse report, and your work at civil society, etc., whether you have come across the issues or key issues that voters will want to consider. And indeed, I did go through what Professor Smart Sapon in his work said were going to be the topical issues: competency, track record, party affiliation, etc. Musa also talked about jobs, employment, economy, etc., as the key issues that his report or his survey threw up. Do we have an indication from what the sentiments on social media, what those key issues will be, coupled with what you have seen as civil society?
Well, thank you very much. If you can hear me again. So, yes, the economy is the back and front of this particular election. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can. It's better.
Okay,
yes.
right. The back and front. Well, I've done some rather interesting polls as well. Personally, I'll probably speak to that in terms of the question you asked me. Done several polls, by the way. Typically, we don't publish our polls. We use it for our own intelligence. But as far as the polls goes, you're right. The question, I mean, it depends. But mostly, you could tell that issues around the economy get everybody, agitated in one way or the other. But yes, in the other polls that we have done and seen, overwhelmingly people are concerned about the questions around the economy. So the cost of doing business, their personal circumstances, as to the ability to afford, the measures of life or the needs of life or otherwise. And by the way, these questions, we did not ask people to say, tell us what your economic circumstances really are. I mean, questioning normally would have been, what are some of the key issues that you think would define this election? And then people just go on and they keep complaining and all of that. I mean, when I look at the raw data, sometimes I laugh a whole lot. But overwhelmingly, people are concerned about the economy. So cost of doing business, cost of living issues here and there. But there's an interesting bit, which I suspect, I was telling someone that I thought Professor Sapon's question could also be related to a question about likeness for a candidate or otherwise. In some regard, some of the constituencies, I've done about 40, almost 40 constituencies, by the way. And as I said, these are all for internal consumption. But I can speak to a few. And for what I see is that when the question is asked, do you like Dr. Bawumia, for instance? Overwhelmingly, many people like him. But of course, when it comes to the other side of the question, okay, do you think he's handled the economy well or issues really well? And then you begin to see that the same number of people who said, oh, we like you, tend to reduce a bit. And it oscillates, by the way. There are sometimes you see that people say, okay, yeah, there are issues, but they believe that he could handle the issues if given the opportunity. Others also say, no, they don't want to, they don't think he can handle it when he's given the opportunity. And all that. So I suspect, likely, that the question about likeness for a candidate may be one of the reasons where Professor Sapon is getting that feedback that many people prefer Bawumia to Mahama. I mean, this is my reading of it, but given what I've seen and done. So, front and center, the economy obviously is the issue. Only because when we haven't even asked people to select, is it the economy, is it this, it's making an open-ended question. People just start complaining. In fact, in some regard, some of our liberators were told of in some place, look, you are suffering. It's either you give me money before I talk or something. And then we said, you can't give us credible answers anyway. So, there's a certain reason why we don't announce our polls. As I said, we use it for internal consumption, and it's interesting. So we keep watching to see what will change, but clearly speaking, the economy is back and front. And on that particular score, many people are not really happy about the way things are going. And there's a likelihood that exactly will be the question for the day on December 7th, which I suspect the parties have to be working towards seriously. I mean, my advice is that the parties they can still be promising, but they should be cautious and be careful. But the economic question is really, really, really a very important one. And I see, and by the way, I see pathways for both parties, by the way. And if you indulge me, if Miracles would indulge me, if I can offer some advice, just to say that, look, I think that the candidate Bawumia could be saying that, look, the economy really was the reason why I came onto the scene. But there have been challenges, right? And we are trying to fix them. We think we'll fix them by doing ABCD, maybe taxes and all of that. Those things tend to generate a lot more interest and sentiment rather than I'll do 1 million this, I'll do. Well, maybe those may appeal to people outside of certain circles. But I'm saying that even where we are right now, I think a little deflection towards the questions about the future of DDP, for instance, the future of the economy, for instance. And everything else that Bawumia will be saying or doing in bits and pieces could actually be pieced together and then projected and answer the economic question. At this stage, it appears he's not interested in the economic question, and I think that will hurt him badly. On the other hand, I suspect that the NDC seems to be saying that, well, they think that the gentrified economy is what essentially would do magic for them. And I'm saying this based on a little science. We put up some questions, essay questions not long ago, about 4 of them for the various candidates. Necessarily, we asked a question about the NDC gentrified. We didn't even put the gentrified economy. We only suggested that Mama suggested that he wants to create a different Ghana, and how would that basically we asked people how would that encourage unemployment and then all of that. And then actually for Bawumia we asked the question, the taxes, because I'm a bit biased towards that issue of flat taxes. I love flat taxes, and I think once we get into flat tax conversations, we will start changing the disorderly, the disorganized tax system that we have. The tax system we have is just rapacious. We don't like it. So I truly love Bawumia's point about the taxes. And we posed that question as well. And we posed Shada's question about trying to re-engineer the channel from, create a C from Accra to, create a channel from Accra to Kumasi. And then the other question has to do with Alan's transformation agenda. Incidentally, about 60% of people really gravitated towards the questions around Mohammed's gentrified economy. Anyway, so these are just comments and my issues. Yeah, sure.
Good. All right. Franklin, thanks so much. Thank you so much. We had a bit of technical challenges this morning, but we're grateful as always for your time. Dennis, concluding remarks on the discussion.
I think where Franklin gets it wrong is that the people of Ghana's decision is not being boiled down to the economy. It's boiled down to who between the two people we can trust to handle our economy. The people acknowledge that we are not there yet as a country. We've achieved a lot, but so do we have a lot more to do, and we have a choice. You see, that whole thinking that the NDC think that, because MPP said they will do 4 and they've done 3, automatically it's coming to them, it will be their biggest shock. Because you have been there before. When you had it, how many did you do? That's the conversation down there. It's not like you are new. You build a new Ghana. From what? The same Ghana that you built, or you're going to build a new Ghana. You've been president before. And so that I hear people say, Dr. Bawumia, how can you be holding the vice president waist to respond to issues, and you think that the one that has been president before will not be held accountable? And so a lot of people are in for a shock come December 7, 2016. We have been on the ground. We are being shaped every day by what the people are saying. We are listening to all the polls, of course, the ones that are not skewed, and we will be guided by what the sentiments are and work with them. But I can be, let me reassure Franklin that the decision or the basis for the Ghanaian voters' decision is not based on economy.
But the economy is key.
It is based on who we are going to vote for a person
who can be trusted.
Who? That is the point. So economy is there, but what's the economy? Education forms part of the economy. Agriculture, health, roads,
jobs.
They're all part of the economy. Yeah, so they're all part of the economy. And let me tell you, everybody and how the economy affects them. For some people, they have their roads. They are fine. For some people, they don't have their roads. They are not bad.
A lot of people don't have money in their pockets.
Some people do.
And that's key.
Let me give you a quick example, then I wrap up. Somebody was being paid 1,000 cedis in 2016 under John Mahama in public sector. Okay, so you could afford 2 of this. Today, this price has gone up. Yes. But that person is being paid 5,000 cedis, so you could afford 4. You think the person is going to vote because of the price of this, or is going to vote based on how much he can afford?
But other things have
It is cool. It is just thought for you to think about. I am telling you that nobody is going to hand over this country to John Mahama because MPP hasn't been able to achieve everything that we promised. We are going to appraise Mahama based on what he himself was able to do when he became president. He has been president before and is going to be held accountable. Bawumia has not been president before. And we are going to look at the 2 of them who we can trust to take us into the future. And I have no doubt that the people of Ghana have no trust, absolutely zero trust for John Mahama. Why? Because of the way he handled us, the way he managed us, the way he led us, the brash way with which he managed our sentiments and when we had difficulties. He left our children on the street without proper education. He left us in darkness, which collapsed our businesses, and he misled us by thinking that he's fixed all our roads, which was a complete lie. He collapsed our health system when he was president. These are all things that the people are going to appraise, and their decisions will be based on that.
Very well. Musa, so when do we, your next book comes out in October or August?
No, it's in July.
It's in July. Yes. Okay, so what will you be looking?
You know, we have been doing what we call tracking poll. If you look at the way we do poll, we're not social research survey company. We are typically polling company who ask direct questions. So if you look at the questions, some have featured from January 2022 till date. We repeat them. So our baseline has been in January 2022. So we've been tracking those questions regularly with that track. So we have a trend curve for those issues. Now, we don't skew anything. Absolutely not. I mean, these politicians, when you listen to them, you don't do anything. When you are speaking, I didn't speak. So we don't skew anything. You see, to know that a poll has been skewed, look at the demography. That's how it's been skewed. And look, we're able to run a cross-tab. Any pollster who can run a cross-tab report is challenged. We can tell you exactly how many people who are MPP, who are this age, who have this qualification, who are male or female. That's the information.
So there's a call for you to share your methodology.
No, it's open. But I mean, it's on the website. In the key issues to determine the election 2024 will be the jobs, economy, and education. And the question is, who would the voters trust on the economy? Who do they trust on fixing educational challenges and on creating jobs? These are the things that will decide who wins. The question is, who would the voters trust? That's the question that...
So you agree with Dennis on the issue of trust?
Absolutely. And we have been tracking this data as well. I've been constantly about this trust issue for a period of time.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Musa Dankwa, Executive Director of the Global Info Analytics. Dennis Miracles Abuaji, spokesperson for the Dr. Bawumia campaign. We expected Abraham Maliba, Director of Conflict Resolution of the NDC, but for some reason we couldn't have him in the studio. Professor Smart Sapon, Director of Research and Innovation at KTU, was on. Franklin Kuje, as always, was our guest. Earlier, we spoke to Eduji Tamaklo and a few others in respect of the now Koryoo detention at the Cantonment police station. My name is Selam Adunu. Thanks so much for doing the listening and the viewing. Catch you same time next week for another exciting edition of The Big Issue. Have a good afternoon.